Oh, hello everyone. Welcome back to another Project Feline live stream. I know, I'm not dead. I'm still doing stuff, still alive, and that's how it should be. Oh, it's so cold today. I had to make myself a really hot cup of tea to get through this one. But it's good to be back for a bit. Hello, yeah, thanks so much for waiting. I just had to I had to make my tea and I had to get the stream set up because it's been a while and I gotta remember where the live button is, but I found it. Today we're gonna be doing something exciting. So all this, okay, so let me try and catch some of you guys up. I don't know how many of you have been here for the other streams, but basically, way back in my last devlog I uploaded, which I'm gonna guess maybe half, I don't know. Some of you have probably seen it. I think it's like my second most viewed one at the moment, which is pretty cool. But aside from all the legal drama that we went into, I talked about this mission system in that video, and I was trying to make this thing where I could create rules in the game, but have them change dynamically, and use that to make missions, like side missions and stuff. And that was kind of a complicated thing to get working because it's all done kind of in the game instance. So you might be thinking, oh, well, Ray, if you're making game rules, just use a game mode in Unreal because Unreal has a game mode thing. But no, we can't do a game mode because that's a static. You can't change that once the game's running unless you reload the whole map. And we don't want to do that because that's just lame. Like, who wants to go into a mission and have to reload everything? Like, that's just kind of lame. So I was trying to work on this thing where it would just do it on the fly. And I spent so long on it and ended up shelving it and moving on to other stuff. But after that whole thing went down, I came back to it. And I'm glad to say that I've got it mostly working now this time, which is pretty cool. So let me show you some of that in action, and I'll show you what we're going to be doing with it. So if I open in the game here, you'll notice that there's some stuff running. You'll notice that there's these enemies about and stuff. There's stuff going on. There's mission metrics on the screen. You'll notice that when I collect these cogs, the numbers go up. And when I defeat enemies, a different number goes up. And there's one more cog somewhere to collect. Yeah, if I collect that, you'll see that the gates over there will open. And this is just a test environment to test this out. And then when I finish the mission, it gives me a results screen with all the stuff that the mission's tracking. And you might be saying, well, Ray, wasn't this in the build like from last year? And to answer that question, kind of. But the way I implemented it in the build that's available right now is very inflexible and bad. So it might look the same right now, because visually I haven't done a lot to distinguish this yet, but underneath, it works completely differently to how it used to in the old build. And I'm about to show you what makes this different. Because you look at this and go, oh, well, this is just already in the game, but watch what I do next. So if I exit out of that mission, you'll now see that there's no mission metrics besides my speed and the amount of cogs I've collected. And you'll actually notice I've done some visual. I know it's a bit hard to see because of the crop for the stream overlay. But you'll notice that in the corner, when I don't have any cogs collected, it flashes. It flashes red. So that's like some cool visuals that I've programmed in. And if I go and collect some, it'll stop flashing, which is pretty cool. But then watch this. If I go, because there's these two invisible boxes, it might be a bit hard to see on the video. But if I run into this invisible box, it loads a different mission. And you'll notice that this one tracks completely different things than the other one. And if I touch this red ring, this time limit starts to count down. And I have to reach the goal before the time runs out. And I've got a full minute there, so it's quite generous, actually. But if I go and touch that, you'll see that the results screen is a different results screen. So instead of showing me all the stats it showed me from the last mission, this time it's only showing me one thing, and it's ranking me differently as well. So underneath all that, there's a lot of complicated stuff going on. And I'm just really happy that I've been able to show it off and actually have it work, because I was half expecting this to break, to be honest. But it works at the moment, which is great. So for reference, if I exit out and wait a minute. Yeah, sometimes, because I hit some keybind just then. I don't know, there's some Unreal Editor keybind that will like freeze. I think it's like unpossessing the pawn or something, I don't know. But I hit it by accident and then it will cause that error sometimes. But if I go back, and this is just the default game mode, and then if I run into this one, it activates the other mission mode where it tracks a lot more things. Now, some of these things I'm not gonna actually have in there. This is just to test things out. But I can collect all of that, and that gate is bound. And also, yeah, watch this. So if I, because this is where it gets like, well, why did it take so long to make that? And this is where it gets a bit complicated. So you see because I just hit the fans and respawned at my last checkpoint, you notice that the gates have now closed again? And my counter is back to 2 out of 10. And if I collect 5, and then hit the checkpoint, and then collect more... let's go find this. So if now the gate's open, and if I go and die again, you'll notice that it actually saves based on the checkpoint. So now it's back to 5 out of 10, as it was when I first touched that checkpoint. And the cogs have actually respawned that are responsible for opening the gate. So just the ones I've collected, the ones on that wall don't respawn, the ones on here do. Because that's the exact state they were in when I hit the checkpoint. So if I collect that floating one now and hit this checkpoint, and then go and die, you'll notice that that floating one in the air is now gone as well. And if I go and hit these, and and there's a lot more of that kind of stuff, all right? There's a lot of like edge case work going on, a lot of like specific conditions and everything. Another cool thing I want to show you before we jump into it is that these metrics can be triggered in a lot of different ways, and this was another thing I got working recently. So in that example, all of those metrics you see on screen get triggered when the mission gets activated. But what if I just want a metric, like some kind of number that's tracking when there's not a mission active? Well, if I go up to this gate, oh sorry, the dialog box is in the way there. But you see if I go up to this gate, you'll see that number up in the top of the screen. And if I leave, it'll disappear. It's like this invisible trigger volume I've put up. So you can actually turn these things on and off based on a volume as well. And while they're active, I can hit these switches and open the gate. But if I were to respawn, the gate will return back to its closed state. And it'll reset itself. And that is without me having to reload the level. That's just no loading screens or anything, which is pretty cool. And then on this side, if I take it from here, I've got this switch configured that actually adds 2 to that number, just because it's got 0 out of 2. So that switch specifically will add 2 to the counter, so I only need 1 switch to open. But on the other side, each of them contributes 1 each. And you can homing attack into those now instead of kicking them. I don't, at the moment, this is just temporary. I've just got them disappearing when I hit them, but I'm going to add an animation later. But anyway, so that's just some showing off some of what the systems can do. But now we're going to do something cool with it. So what we need to do at the moment, let me just turn my volume down a little. So what we have to do at the moment is, I want to make a new mission type. Kind of like what I demonstrated here, where I have these two volumes here, and one of them is one mission type, one is the other. I want to make a new mission type that I thought would be really fun to try out. And this mission type, the goal is that you can't touch the floor. And if you touch the floor, it's game over. But if you can reach the goal without touching the floor, then you can win. Okay? So that's what I'm thinking to do. So we're going to do a bits of setup, and I'll write down the steps we need to do. The first thing we need to make is a land counter metric. And what do I mean by that? I mean, we're going to create a new number that tracks the amount of times that Gabby touches the floor. And the other thing we're going to need is the actual mission actor itself. And that's it. That's all we need. We shouldn't have, but outside of this, we're going to have to do a bit of programming. But once we program this metric, we shouldn't have to do any more programming. It should just work. And when I say it just works, I mean it actually should just work. I'm not talking about Todd Howard kind of way. It just works. I mean, it'll actually just work. So let's get started on that. So let's make a new, because what I'm going to need, I call them metrics, or you can call them statistics as well if you want. Think of it as like a statistic. And I'm basing this off, like the naming of all of this, right, is based on, let's see if I can find an example. I've been playing, I'm just trying to find a little example for you guys to show you kind of how these numbers exist, because they're not just numbers. They're actually a little bit it's a bit I don't know. I want to show you a visual. I just got to find a video file of something. Does anyone remember Ratchet Gladiator, or Ratchet Deadlocked, I think it's called in America? But in PAL it's called Ratchet Gladiator. I want to use that as an example to show you what I'm talking about. Just gonna search for gameplay. So I'm gonna skip ahead. I want to show you the results screen from this game. Because this game had lots of missions. This is kind of where I'm getting the idea of missions. So I don't know who remembers this. This is a very old game. It's like 15 years old or something. I don't know, something like that. But with this game, you do a lot of side missions. Like, the entire game is basically challenges. Like, kill this amount of enemies, get to the end of the course, you know, run the hover bike through 10 checkpoints in under a minute. It's like that kind of stuff. And what my system allows me to do is essentially make mission content like in this game. So if when you complete a mission in this game like this, you'll notice that these numbers are on the screen that track things, right? Think of my system as those. Think of mine as the thing that's tracking how long you're spending in a mission, how many enemies you're defeating, how much bolts you collect, you know, things like, because that's literally what this is. The thing is about Ratchet Gladiator is, or Ratchet Deadlocked, sorry, I gotta remember you guys are in America, most of you, is that it's seemingly tracking a lot of the same things in every mission, but in my one, some missions don't track certain things. For example, in this game, they all track kills, even though that they don't actually show you that while you're playing it. I think they just show you that at the end. But there's some missions that have a time limit on them, and maybe you get a rank where you don't get, I don't think you get ranks in this game. In this game, it just tells you your best time, but you don't get a ranking on it. Whereas in my one, you can get graded. Like, if you get under a certain time, you'll get a higher rank, you know, things like that. But I want, because not all of my missions are going to be based on time, I want the ranking to change depending on what mission you're doing. For example, in my normal mission type, let's have a look at that. This is going to be like the main story mission type. I'm going to open up this in the blueprint. So this is the blueprint for it. It's actually quite primitive, and I can actually probably move a lot of this stuff out of this graph to somewhere else and have it completely blank. But if we look at how this mission works, it's tracking things. So if we let me just show you. So this is the base mission component. This tracks the state of the mission, basically. This is a state machine, more or less. This is tracking score. This is tracking your time. This is tracking, this is a countdown sequence, which I've turned off at the moment just to save time. But if I turn that on, and if I start the mission, it'll go 3, 2, 1, go. So I can make it do that. This tracks the amount of collectibles. This calculates your rank. And there's different types of these depending on the mission. And then I've got a test one here that just tracks the amount of enemies you've defeated. So what we want to essentially do is make a new mission for what we're going to do on stream now. We want to make a new one of these that just tracks the amount of times you've touched the floor. Because that's the only thing we want to track. So let's do that. All right, now that I think I've explained enough, let's start doing it. So we're going to need to create, well, first of all, we're going to need to do a bit of setup. We're going to need to make a scene for this mission that has the objectives and stuff in it. So I'm going to go to my maps folder. I'm going to create, I'm just going to copy one of my existing ones. we'll take, I think it's called example mission time trial. Yeah, so I'll copy this and I'll rename this to, we'll call it lava, because I keep calling it the floor is lava mode, so we'll just call it lava, just for the moment. And I'll open this up, and this, I've just copied this from another thing. This just has some collectibles in it and some checkpoints. So we're going to get rid of these collectibles because we don't really need them. We'll have the checkpoints. I guess we'll leave those in. The start and end point we'll leave, and it's just this thing we want to change, because this is the actual mission. It's just an empty actor in the scene that keeps track of all this stuff. So we want to change this to something else, and we need to make something. So I'm going to go to my engine folder for my mission types. I'm going to create a new actor, and we'll call it BP_mission_lava. And we're going to drag that into the scene. We can kind of put it wherever we want, but I'm just going to like copy and paste the position of this. I put that there, I guess. So we'll just have that in the scene, and it's empty at the moment, but we're going to give it some stuff. So I'll save that, because that's kind of, the mission logic is just in that empty scene, and it gets loaded on top of the level. So this is one of the things that's really cool about this way I've built it, is because this mission data exists completely independently of the actual level, which means if you want to activate the mission, the level can stay loaded because it's using level streaming. And for those who don't know what level streaming is, you know how on the PS5 they were like advertise, like with that, there's that new Ratchet and Clank, I guess it's not new anymore, but there was that new Ratchet and Clank game they were advertising, how it's, you can enter missions in seamlessly. That's like a kind of level streaming. It's actually been around for a while. It's just kind of getting marketed more now. But Unreal, this has had level streaming for a while. It basically means you can like load levels on top of each other on the fly. And because this level only has 4 objects in it, there's going to be no hiccup. Like, you don't need a loading screen or anything, because it's just, there's so little getting loaded. In fact, I think Jak and Daxter was one of the first games to prominently use level streaming, which just goes to show how old the technology is. But it's certainly improved a lot since then. Anyway, so now that we'll go back to the main level, and we'll go to my levels window, and you can see these are all the different sub-levels that have all been loaded asynchronously. I think that's the word, asynchronous. I think that's the word you describe it with. But we need to add that new one to this list. So I'll drag and drop mission lava into the persistent level. And now I'm gonna, let's just hide the other ones for the moment, just so it's a bit easier to see. And now we should have just the checkpoints and the finish line at the end there. So that's that current mission that we just put. Now it's in the environment. The next thing we're going to need is to be able to trigger this mission with a volume, which I've got set up for these other ones. So I'm going to take one of these and just duplicate it, just because it's easier for me to copy it. But I got to make sure it's copying to I've got another empty scene called missions. And this scene just has trigger volumes in it for the missions. That's it. The actual missions are on their own scene, and the trigger volumes are on another one. And there's a reason I'm doing it like that, but it's going to take a while to explain. So I'll just get on with it. But now what we need to do is get this trigger volume. We'll call this mission trigger lava 01. And I've coded this. This is a thing I've already programmed. It's scripted so that it will, when you touch it, it'll load one of those levels, those level streams. So we just need to give it the right name. I think I called it just lava 01. So when I touch that trigger volume, it will load that new scene into the map that we just made. So that is now set up. Great. Now, when I do this, I'm just going to save it. But you will notice that nothing will happen yet when I do that. So let's just, I'm just like making sure this is all saved. Now, so, okay, I gotta remember there is actually one of them that's set to auto load, so we'll turn that off. Because you can click on these volumes and tell them to just auto start when the level is loaded, when the entire level is loaded. So we want to keep that off for the moment. So that way, when I jump into the scene, I start off just normal, and if I run into this middle box, it'll load the checkpoints that I made. Now, because we haven't made the mission yet, you won't see anything on screen. It'll just have these checkpoints. But at least that bit works now, okay? So now we've got the checkpoints and everything loading in. And if I hit, because there's no mission active, there's no exit button. But once we get the mission going, we'll be able to enter it and exit it, and it'll actually have stuff running. So let's get onto that now. So for this new actor, we're going to need the... I'm going to just copy this from one of my other missions, because I've already got a lot of it set up a certain way. So let me go to my... Because it needs the mission component on it, so that it knows it's a mission. That's the thing. So I'm going to open... I think it's in missions? So I'm going to copy this mission component. So this is the new actor, and I'm just going to paste this into the components. So now we've got this mission component on our new... Remember, this was a completely empty actor when we made it a few minutes ago. So if I add this component on, it should have some properties listed out. We want this ticked on, where when that load stream level is loaded with that trigger volume, it should load this mission. And then... this has some other stuff in it. We can give it music, so we can give this mission specific music. So I might just fill something in here for the moment. Let's see. Let's pick one of my... You guys won't be able to hear it yet, but if I just pick one of these, we'll pick one of these tracks, and then we got to make sure these are ticked on, because this will overwrite the current... because the music is handled by a persistent actor, so that the music will transition across levels. That way, when you go from one level to the other, the music just doesn't cut out. So because I've got it persistent, I do have to make sure these are ticked on. I gotta remember if there's anything else. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's everything. I think this we might have to modify later, because this is the result. This is like result screen stuff. So I might just clear these for the moment, because these are gonna depend on whatever we put. But upon thinking, so we're gonna need that new metric, I think, and I just gotta make sure that everything else is the way. Okay, I think that looks good to me. What we might do as well, because we're gonna need to rank you somehow. So what I'll do is I'll add the watch metric in, and I'll add the rank metric in as well. So now we've got watch and rank. So this will keep track of how long you've been in the mission, and this will grade you based on your clear time, because I think that's going to be the way we'll judge it. If you can only touch the ground once, then I guess the goal would be to get there as fast as you can without touching the floor, and your rank will come from how quickly you can beat the level. So with this watch, we just got to make sure that it's counting the right way, which I think, yes, that should be good. So this will just run like a normal stopwatch now. And I think there's one thing I just got to turn off that little boolean there, and I think we'll be good. So now what should happen, I think what will happen now is that when we start that mission, because I've got the watch metric in there, it should actually spawn a watch on the screen when I run into here. And there we go. Okay, so it looks like it's spawning me in the wrong, because it actually will spawn the character. So I have set it to 000 at the moment, which is why it's like that, and it seems to be locking my input as well, so I'll make sure it doesn't do that. So we need to go open the mission component, go to input. Okay, so we'll just turn all of these off for the moment, because what I can do is when you start a mission, I can have it lock your input so that if you have a countdown sequence, it'll wait for the countdown to finish, but we're not going to do that for this one. We also need a mission spawn, which we'll put into the level instance, because we don't want it the same spawn set for every type of mission like this. Because we only want the spawn to be set to the whatever's in this scene. Because if we use this mission type in another scene, we're going to need a different spawn point depending on the geometry. So we'll go to, so we'll open that in the scene now. So if I click on there and then go to mission. Actually, let me just check what the location is, because I need to get the world location for I don't know if I can just copy that and then go to the mission actor, scroll to mission. I think it's in spawning. Yeah, mission load spawn. I think I should be able to, yeah, there we go. We should be able to paste it. So now when I start the mission, it sort of spawned me at that spot. I just got to make sure that these are also correct. I think these are fine, yeah. So now if I hit play, and if I run, okay, now it just spawns me there. And then if I hit this thing, okay, now it'll keep track of my time. So that's cool, but now we don't have it tracking how much time I'm touching the floor yet. Oh, and I need to change one thing. There is a boolean on the results screen I just need to turn off. So if I go to that watch, and if I go to the widgets, I need to just turn off one thing. There we go, I just gotta turn that off. Now, let's try that. So now this will just be a normal, it just tracks time and it'll give you a rank based on your clear time. So 4 seconds, I guess that's an S rank. We haven't actually set up what the prerequisites will be yet, but we can. But what we want to do is have the mission end when we touch the floor, or keep track of the amount of times we touch the floor, because who knows, maybe we might have it so that you can touch the floor like 2 times or 3 times or something. We can do something like that. But to do that, this is where the programming heavy bit's going to come in. Because once we have that component, we can just add it here and it'll work. But we don't have that part written yet. So I need to make a new metric. And this is where it might get a little tricky. We might get some problems here, but we'll see what happens. So if I go to engine, components, I shall make a child, because I have this one called metric component int. So I'm going to use this as a base, because for those who were here like a while ago for the streams, you'll know that I kind of changed all this to be inheritance based, which has been a huge help doing it that way. So, and because this counter, it's just keeping track of the amount of times you're touching the floor, which is an integer, because you don't need a 2.2 times you've touched the floor. It just needs to be 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. So we're going to make a child of this create child blueprint class. We'll call it int underscore landed. And we just need to configure this so that it increments up whenever we touch the floor. So it's already got a number in there somewhere. It's just we need to configure it so that it increments when a certain condition is met. So the first thing we're going to need to do, let's write it down. So we can tick some of these off, because we've already done one of these, which is great. But we need to, as a sub task to this, we need to be able to get bind to player. Because we need this number to know which character, it needs to track a character. It needs to know what character we're tracking, and it needs to then be able to bind itself so that when the character lands, it will increment. So I just got to think, because there's a way to do this that I've done for the other ones. I might go look at one of my other metrics, because I have bound to the player before. I think there's one called metric component health, I think. I just got to find where it is. Or is it health? I don't know if it maybe it's, oh, maybe it's the speedometer actually. Metric component int underscore, I swear, oh, maybe it was a float value. Yeah, So there should be one called float speedometer. There we go. So in this one, so this is the, I'll show you what this code is for. So this code is for that little one in the corner that tracks my speed. And I'm going to use this as like a, just to look at how I did this, because this metric essentially increments itself when the player moves. And I think it runs on tick, but it needs to know where the player is. But this one does work a little differently, because this one just tracks the, it tracks whatever owner, like whatever actor it's attached to, which isn't quite what we want. We want to find the player and bind to that. So I just gotta think of, because there's a way I can think to do it, but I want to make sure I'm being smart about this. I just gotta remember how. There might actually, let me go check something. There might be something already in there with how I've done this. There is. I do actually bind to the player in another thing with the health. So there is something here. I'll show you what I'm trying to do. Because there's a Boolean here. Because these metrics can also respond, all of them, by the way, this is on the parent class. They can all respond to health events. So if the player dies, these metrics can react to that. You can tell it to do things when that happens. And I basically need to copy some bits from this to bind to the player. So I just need to look at how these are set up, because I haven't looked at these in a week or so, and I got to remember how these work. Bind health events. Get health actors. This is, let's have a look at how this works. Okay, we might, this is sort of the what I'm thinking. Append health actor. Okay, I think I know what I need to do. I need to copy some events. There should be an event called append, remove, and get. And there's a reason that they're set up this way. So I need to copy that into the into here. So we'll call this append player. Remove player. And we need to make some variables. Get help. Okay, so we're gonna need to create an array. I will see, let me just check something. I need to copy these. I just gotta, okay, let me get rid of that. Okay. So I'm just gonna copy these and rename them, and then I'll explain what they do. I'll call these characters, actually. Because I'm certain that the character class has an event called landed. I'll show you what that looks like, because you might actually get a hint to what I'm trying to do once I show you this. So if we open Gabby's blueprint, for example, feline, I think it's called feline character. Because there's the character class in Unreal has, okay, wow, this is huge. I forgot how big this blueprint was. There should be an event called landed, which I have already set up. I just got to remember where it is. There we go. Event on landed. There we go. So this event comes with the Unreal Engine character class. And that is good, because Gabby's entire thing is inherited from the character class. And that will trigger this event whenever the character lands on the floor. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to set up this new metric that we're doing to listen for that event. So it needs to bind to the right character. It needs to bind to Gabby, and then bind an event so that, oh, when Gabby lands, increment value by 1. That's what we're doing. But we need to find her first. And we got to do it a smart way, because you might say, oh, we'll just cast to BP_Gabby, but that's kind of a not scalable way. You don't want to do it like that. You want to have it so that it will just cast to whatever the character class, like whatever. You'll be able to configure this a few ways. You can either have this search automatically for the owner, if it's a character, and bind to that. You can have it search for the player controlled character, or you could have it manually tell it which character to do. That's because that's how I've got it set up for these other ones when searching for player specific things. So I want to stay consistent with how I've done it that way and put that in here. It means it's going to be a bit of extra setup, but it's kind of more sturdy that way. So we'll go include player character. Oh. So we then need to replace every instance of that with that in these new events. And we might actually change, or should we? Let me just, nah, we'll leave this as an actor. Now maybe we'll change this, because I'm very certain it has to be a character class for this to work. So we might as well change this to a character variable type, just so that we don't get anything we don't want. Now this means we're going to have to change these two. Oh, sorry, I'm very sorry. I have not been looking at chat. I've just been it's been a while since I've been this focused on a stream, so I just wanted to keep that momentum going. But while this is loading, hello. Sorry, I forgot you guys were there. I'm just kind of in the zone. I don't understand why people don't watch you live. I don't really care, really. I'm just glad anyone's here. Probably because I don't have a schedule, and I think I know why. It's because I'm not a professional streamer. It's because I'm not like you know, like when you think streamer, there's like a certain archetype that comes to mind. I think a streamer would be a lot more fun. Like if I was doing like professionally, I'd be streaming like constantly, and I would be like funny all the time. I think if I did that, more people would watch. But I just don't have time for that right now. Like maybe, I don't know, maybe someday, but I just like, I don't think most streamers are like, if they're just sitting there watching Sunny V2 videos or something, you know, they don't have a game to make, so they're probably not, they can afford to be entertaining without it consuming all their energy. But that ain't me. I know. But no, it's cool. Like I do this. I treat streaming very casually. That's why I just go live whenever. I don't even really care, because like I could care about it. I could decide, oh, I need more followers, but I have I'm fine. I'm good. All my main effort goes to the game or the videos. I don't really put that much effort into like being a consistent streamer that's live from a certain time period every day or whatever. I don't know, like it's just a lot of work. I'd love to, but it's just a lot of work, and I've already got heaps to do. So, but yeah, I think I'm kind of liking it, because I think there was a period a few years ago where I was taking streaming a bit more seriously, and I was trying to do it more regularly, but it kind of took its toll. And I'm like, hey man, I don't like staying up to 4 AM for the I think that's another thing too, time zones. Because I used to stream at really late, but it was at a prime time for people in Los Angeles. But I don't do that anymore, so I don't get as many viewers. In fact, I don't even know how many people are even here. I've got no idea. 50, okay, well 55's pretty good. When I was doing this on Twitch, I'd get like half that. So that's pretty good. I'm happy with that. That's awesome. Sometimes it gets to 100 or 200, like, I don't know when. It's like, I think it has to be on some peak time or whatever. Like, sometimes I'll accidentally stream on a peak time, and then I'll get that. But no, then I have to stay up, like, till I have to start at 11 p.m. and finish at 2 a.m. and it's like, no, I'm not. No, it's just not worth it. You know, it's just like I could, but I've like fixed my sleep schedule now, and I don't want to slip back into there. I don't want to go back there. It's just it was difficult, and it rubs off on you. I appreciate sleep so much more now. I know I still have a way to go. I'm not I still stay up a little too late, but it's a lot. But I can wake up at a consistent time now. I used to be able to not do that, which was pretty crazy. There was a time when I could not get up at 8 in the morning, but now I can. So I'm making progress. But anyway, that's the boring stuff. No one wants to hear about that. Let's talk about something cooler while I set this up. Oh, you're an Aussie? Hell yeah, it's 6. Oh wait, it's 6:05 for you? Okay, you must be in a different part of Australia, because it is not 6:05 for me. It is now 8:05 for me right now. Yeah, hold on. Sorry, I'm just seeing the chat go by. Oh, thanks. Okay, real quick, I just want to thank everyone. Everyone's being so nice today. Oh my goodness. Sorry, I've missed a bunch of these messages where everyone's just complimenting me. Thank you. I want to read, there's this message I got near the beginning I want to read from Dreknath, who says, the good thing about being an indie dev is you literally get to create exactly what you want. The downside is you got to do it all yourself. Glad to see how far Feline has come. Thank you. I'm actually a bit surprised that people are saying that after what I just showed them, because I was like working on that whole code system I just showed you, because before I was an indie dev, and if I showed someone, like if someone showed that to me, I would think, wow, like, so what? Like it seems kind of, it doesn't seem that impressive, I don't think, but I think it is because of, you know, because I've had to code all of it and I've had to get it to work a certain way. But it's literally just numbers. It's like, oh, you're getting numbers to show a specific way. Wow. Like, it doesn't seem as cool as like the physics stuff I was doing or everything. Like, there's heaps of other stuff as well that I haven't shown yet that's happened. That's way cooler. So I'm very grateful that you guys are like, can kind of tell that I put a lot of effort into that system and what it's going to mean. Because it is a bit abstract, I'll admit. Like, I don't really get it when I'm there working on it. It's like, what the hell is this even supposed to end up doing? Like, I'll get a bit tripped up over it. So I'm very glad to hear that you guys kind of get what I'm trying to do. I know it's a very like systems heavy bit of the game. It's not something I don't think a lot of players will pick up on. But they will pick up on it from their perspective, which is going to be like the mission content. And I'm going to, well, the way we're going to feel this later, because I want to do more streams with this system as development continues. The way this is going to pay off for us is that making new missions like we're doing now is going to be really easy compared to the alternative way where you have to hard code everything. So that's the kind of thing I wouldn't expect players to really care about, because it affects me. It doesn't really affect the player. It just means that I get to have more fun making content for the game's missions. I could go the hard-coded way, and you get the same outcome, but it's more fun when you've got a system in place. So yeah, so it's really cool. I'm glad that you guys are digging it, because my goodness, I've spent so long trying to get this to, it's so hard, man, because I'm not a programmer. Okay, I'm just trying my best. So I had to learn a lot of things the hard way to get this working as it is right now. Anyway, sorry, let's get back to what was I doing. Okay, I was making those events, and then okay, this is where I got to replace this. I just gotta focus for a minute. So that has to, that has to go there. That has to go there. And then we need to append player. Get controlled wait a minute. Player controller. Can I get player character instead? No, I don't think so. Now we'll just, yeah, we'll get control pawned and get Or could... Oh, okay. Is there... Oh, maybe I have to do this, get player... Oh, but I don't want... Because then I have to put that index... I don't want to do that. I want to just get... Get controlled pawn... Cast... Okay, I think we do cast... Yeah, we'll do that. You're an Unreal dev, but the programming just... Yeah, man. I think, like I've noticed, whenever I talk about my programming, I attract a lot of real programmers. Or I don't know how experienced they are. I don't know who these people are really, but I attract a lot of people that will, kind of criticize how I program, and they'll get kind of... They'll try and tell me like, oh, no, you want to do it this way, but it's hard to do that because it's like, firstly, I'm not them, and like, they might see it a certain way, and it's like, that's great, but that's because you have different experience than I do, and you could probably do that. I have to do what's in my realm of what I'm capable of. And I'm acutely aware of that. So sometimes I will make deliberate compromises with my programming. Like, some, you know, I think, especially on Facebook, there was some group I used to be in, and there was this, I remember there's this one dude that got really annoyed that I was using blueprints. And he's like, no, that's not real. You can't do it that way. You need to sit down and spend years learning C++. I know it's big and scary, but you need to do it. And I'm like, but I have a game working that runs well already. Why would I go back and redo everything? Like, that's going to cost so much time. I know it's better and more optimal and everything, but I don't have a million, like, you know, I'm going to die someday. Like, I don't have time to do it perfectly. I just have to, yes, it's a compromise to do blueprints, but I'd like to think I'm mitigating them quite well. I know that there's like the tick rate and all stuff. It isn't as optimal, but I've tried to, I mean, you guys that have played the prototype, I don't think any of you have like complained about it running bad or anything. Yeah, there's bugs in it, but those bugs would be there whether I did it in Blueprint or C++. That's just my fault that those are there. It's nothing to do with the Blueprint. But yeah, no, this guy was really annoyed because yeah, he didn't, I don't know, like, I know that he would probably, if it was his project, he would do it that way, which is fine, but it's not his project. So he kind of like, there's nothing really to say about it, I guess. Like, it's, if it was him doing it, yeah, but it's not him doing it, it's me doing it, and I don't know that stuff, so I have to work around that. And there's two options you get. You either learn it or you don't. And you might, there isn't a right or wrong answer. It depends. And that's why I kind of stopped sharing things about my game in those groups, because a lot of the advice doesn't apply, because I think it's at the point now where the general kind of programming advice doesn't apply, because I've got a framework now. So whenever I get advice on something, it has to work within the thing I've built. And if it doesn't, it's like, well, do I redo my whole framework to account for that? Or do I just move on and accept that as a limitation? So that's kind of a tough spot you can get into, I've noticed, just when sharing like code and that. And you know, like, that's the thing. I don't pretend that I'm this, that I'm a master programmer. I'd say I'm good enough to do what I need to do, because that's all I really care about. I don't care about being the best programmer on earth. I just care about making my game. And there's a lot more to that than just programming, which is why I like accept, okay, I know visual scripting is a little, it has to, I mean, I think you can get it close if you nativize it, and I know that's a bit of a process, but I'd rather put up with that than learning the syntax of everything, because I know myself, and I know I'm not good with that stuff. So it's like, do I try and go against the river of what I'm not good at, or do I try and do what's like suited to me? Because you got to remember, I have to do everything else. I got to animate stuff, I got to draw, I got to do the branding and the marketing and the programming and the audio. So, you know, sometimes you gotta make compromises somewhere. Anyway, so now that I've got those events set up, I'll get back to on topic now. Now that we've got those set up, we got to do something. We need to be able to bind players. Let me just refer to my other blueprint to see how I did this. Okay, so let me copy this. I think we're close. We're close to getting this working. So I need an event, and we'll make a boolean called be bind on initialize. We'll call it bind players. Bind characters on initialize. We'll make that a boolean. And I'll copy the tooltip. Oh, it's freezing on me now. Oh, there we go. Whether to bind player, whether bind characters on begin play. Now we might need to make a few more of these. Let me just refer, we might need to make a few more of these booleans because there is a thing. Because the thing about this, well, actually, you know what? I'll make the bind event, and then I'll explain why I might need more booleans, because this is where the metric system itself can kind of get weird. And this is all the, like, the kind of the way I've had to go about it. But what we do need is... we need to make something like this. I'm just gonna, because I'm just copy pasting, because a lot of these will work kind of similarly, but we're just gonna bind characters. And we'll change make that a character. And we need to make an event dispatcher as well. So I'm just going to set up some of these. So yeah, the reason why I'm doing this as well is because a lot of this whole thing is based on event dispatchers. And event dispatchers are pretty handy. So I every time I add a new thing, I got to make sure it has dispatchers to it, because you might need that later for a lot of how this works. Because it's basically just, oh, let's listen for this thing. And when this thing happens, we'll do this. And all of it is basically like that. It's just listening for something and reacting. That's the basic principle of this whole system. The complicated bit is when it comes to what to listen to, when to listen to it, and what to do. Like, that's kind of where it gets kind of complicated. But I've worked through a lot of that painstaking work now. I just got to make sure I have this stuff set up. Okay, so now that we've got this empty event, because what this is going to do is it's going to bind things. So if I go to assign on land, I think it does it have an event I can bind? I hope so. Maybe it, because this is a character class. Maybe it's the get component. Oh, oops, maybe it's the character movement class I'm thinking. I really hope this event can actually be bound. Okay, it's only letting me bind 2 components. I mean, 2 events, sorry. Or maybe I need to, okay, let me, because I need to look for this event called landed. I hope it's like exposed so that I can bind it. It might not be, and then maybe this might be a little harder than I was thinking it would be. But I mean, let's go back here, because I do have a thing here in the character class called event landed, or on movement mode changed on landed. Yeah, yeah, that's the character class event. Okay, well let's okay, well, if that's not there, then that's going to be a bit tricky. Bind event. On reach to jump, on character movement, on movement mode changed, on movement, on character... maybe on movement mode changed. This might work. If I compile that, please... okay, well that won't show an error, so that's good. But I was hoping... okay, I guess there is no I guess that isn't exposed. That's interesting, because if I go here, there's an event, but there doesn't seem to be I can't bind to it. I need to Google something. Unreal bind event on landed. Maybe, let me just, okay. Maybe it's maybe it's the part of the pawn. Maybe not. Okay, the feline character doesn't seem to have it either. I thought it would have. Unless I'm looking in the wrong place. Let me check one more thing. Player pawn. Because there might be an event here. Yeah, event on landed is here too. Okay, well, I guess maybe that one can't be bound, which is odd. I would hope it would have been. Unless I make my own event dispatcher, but if I did that, it would only work on that specific character class. I just gotta look up something. How do I keep focusing on project long term? That's a good question. I think it's just because, like, I want to. Like, I don't know if that makes... that sounds like a terrible answer, but it's like... I'm at the stage now where, you know, I feel like I need to do this. If I can't, then I'm like, screw that. I gotta find a way. And I'm working on ways to make this a bit more sustainable at the moment, but the way I stay kind of focused is there's two main things. The first thing is that I've wanted to make this game for 10 years now. Like, if I had to be honest with myself, I know that most of you guys hadn't heard of it until like 5 years ago or whatever, whenever I started making videos. But since way before then, I had the characters, I had the worlds, I had all the stuff in my head, and then the reason why I got into game dev is because I wanted to bring that world to life. And I wanted it so badly. And I noticed, because I lived a little before becoming an indie game dev goblin, and I noticed that whenever I wasn't plugged into this, when I wasn't tuned in to Gabby's world, whenever I deviated from that, I was miserable. You know, I hated it. And whenever I decided instead to like just do whatever it took to focus on this world, then I was happy. And it's not easy. It's not to say that it's like every day is easy, because a lot of it, like getting this whole system was a nightmare. It's taken me ages, and I don't like working on it either. Like this whole system, the programming and everything. Like this is the fun bit now, but to get to this point took so long, and I hate that. Like, yeah, I don't like that. It's not fun. It's work. But I would rather put up with that than anything else, because I've tried other things. You know, I used to... A lot of people don't know this. I haven't brought this up in a while. I used to teach before this for the government. Actually, I used to have a government job, which adds a bit of, I guess, depth to my last video, because I think a lot of people know that. Yeah, we were dealing with the government last video, but a lot of people don't know that I actually used to work in a government branch somewhere, which is why I kind of know, I'm kind of familiar with sort of their tactics and everything. But I did that. You know, I made pretty good money from it, but I hated it. I did not like it. I just was not cut out for that system. So the way I see it now is I have to do whatever I can to avoid that. Like, that's kind of, there's two things. One thing, I really want to do this work, and second, I really want to avoid doing anything else because I'm just not cut out for it. Like, it's just too much drama and stuff, you know? Like, it's like that kind of work, you know? Like, the kinds of skills you need, I'm just not the kind of person that's cut out for that. So I try to make it my effort to do whatever I can to stay on this, because I think this is where I need to be. This is where I belong. And it took me a while to realize that, you know? But it's like those two things. The other prong as well to that, not only am I really want to do this and I'm terrified of doing anything else, but I also am habitually, like, I have to. Like, I've over the years cultivated some good habits so that even if I don't feel like working, I've conditioned myself so much to just work anyway that I can kind of get past being in a bad mood. Like, if something is not working and it's terrible, like the last few months for me, like, it's just been a slog to get all this together. But because I'm kind of addicted to it, and I'm kind of habitually driven, even when I'm not motivated, that's kind of, I think that's a helpful thing to have if you can cultivate that. And what that essentially just means is showing up every day and doing something, even if you don't end up fixing whatever you wanted to or accomplishing what you wanted in that day, at least you showed up. If you don't show up, if you stop showing up, then it becomes really hard to commit. I think that's sort of what I've come to feel about all that. Let me just think for a moment, because I wanted to look up, because there's some C++ stuff I'm looking up here, but that's not really what I want. So I might just try this, because let me go and look at something. There might be another event I can use for this code. But yeah, I guess to summarize that, basically, yeah, I want to do this game. I really don't want to do anything else. And when I say that, I don't just mean that I don't want to, like, it's just too much work. No, I mean, I was there, I tried stuff. You know, I did a bit of freelancing here and there. I did a bit of, like, and I did it, and it's like, look, I put myself out there, I tried things, because that's something I think that is, like, I think I'm glad I did that stuff, because now it gives me a chance to say, well, I did try not being an indie dev. You know, I think some people that will ask me stuff, I'm trying to think, there's a story I have that kind of better fit this. I think, yeah, so one thing some of you may or may not know is that I was a high school dropout as well. I think in Australia it's called year 10. In America, I don't know what it's called. It might be called sophomore. I don't know what it's called. In America, it's like the 10th year of school or whatever. In Australia, you're legally allowed to leave, but you can't just leave. You have to either go into education somewhere else or you have to work full time until you're 18. Then you can do whatever you want. And I chose to leave. And I think the point I'm trying to make here is that I hated school, but that was not a good enough reason to leave school. That was one reason, but the main reason I think it made it a good idea to leave wasn't because I just hated school, is because I really wanted to do something else. And I think if I had to encourage people to do what I did, like, if there's people in school or whatever now that want to drop out and make games, or just, like, make sure you're doing it because you want to make games, not just because you hate school, because just hating school is not a good enough reason. And I think that's not to sound like, not to toot my own horn, but I believe that was a better reason. Like, when I was going through that, I think the fact that I actually had a plan and a goal made it a good decision. Because if you don't have that goal and you just want to leave to get out of there, then what do you do? And that's kind of where a lot of people, I think, get stuck, is that they then have to find something to do. And I think that's really hard. I'm quite lucky. I've kind of always known what I wanted. But I do know that not knowing is, because no one can help you with that. Like, you have to kind of just, it's purely intrinsic. Yeah, when it comes to what you want, you have to kind of make that up for yourself. And that can be quite difficult. So I don't know, for me at least, the main point I'm trying to make there is when it comes to staying committed long term, it's like, yeah, it's because I have a vision for this thing and I want to do it. And I would rather pay the price of whatever comes doing that than the alternative. You know, that's just me, because I just really want to do it. I really want to do this, and that doesn't just, and I think I would just want to like add a little asterisk to that. It doesn't just mean wanting to. It means not wanting just the outcome, but it means wanting to compromise things to achieve that outcome. Because I've had to make a lot of compromises to do this. You know, like you know, like it isn't just a matter of wanting to. It's wanting to forego certain things, because you know that by doing that, you know, you sacrifice things for a goal, and that's something I'm fine with. And yeah, I think it's just kind of knowing yourself as well. A lot of at the beginning of this whole thing, I didn't really know this, but now I kind of get it. Hopefully that's enough to finish things. That's kind of the main challenge now, is to actually get it finished. And that, I think that's just a matter of time. It's just putting more in and making sure I steer the ship right. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting a little off topic now. I'm trying to remember what I'm supposed to do. But that's a good question, though. I'm glad you asked it. I hope that was helpful. But unfortunately, I don't know. A lot of the time, I think, because that's me, I don't know if that, I don't want to give that advice out because I don't think that'll work for everyone. Not because it's like exclusive or whatever. It's just because like I know how I am, and I'm very weird. Like I've met other people. Like when I was a student, I met other people that did game dev, and I noticed that a lot of them really weren't. They were not the same. Like they had a whole different thing going on. Like they you know, still game dev, still interested in it, but they have a completely different reason to do it. Not to say one is better than the other. It's just when you have that fundamental difference, then it kind of affects what advice you can take and what won't work. But anyway, that's probably a whole video's worth of stuff I could talk about. But we got to stay on topic. We got to stay on track. I was trying to sorry, yeah, I got a bit of a tangent. Let's get back to it. So I need to find an event. But I mean, I hope that was helpful. If you're anything like me, that might be a good answer. But if not, then I don't know if I can explain it in a way that you'll get. Like, I don't know, man. It's very personal, I think. A lot of it, you know, like a lot of the things that work for me kind of are very like personal. But anyway, so I need to find this. Because okay, cool. So what I can do is, hopefully, I just wanted to read, yeah, that's all I wanted to look at, because now what I can go and do is, wait, oh no, I do need to, I forgot to do something here. I need to change this to be a character. I almost missed, because that was going to break if I didn't make sure I set this. I'll just go and check these events I made and make sure I've got them set up right before I proceed. Yeah, I haven't set the return value correctly. Just as well. Let me just I wonder if what you guys thought, because you guys might have some thoughts on my sort of state of mind. Yeah, the time, it'll cost a lot of time. It's depending on what you want to do. Yeah, like I will say as well, to add to that, because a lot of you haven't seen these, but this isn't my very first thing. This is my first like serious thing. But before this, I made like 24 like smaller games over like a few years before doing this, so it wasn't like completely new. I mean, I did have to learn a lot because it's a new engine. That was a bit because I had never used Unreal before this project. I was using Unity back then. But it gives you like that kind of it was a lot. I did learn a lot of things from that I don't know. The thing is, a lot of it comes so naturally to me now that I don't even remember what it is I learned by doing those. But I know that there was something I learned from that. If I didn't do those games, as much as I wasn't proud of them. Like, they're not great. They're very average. But if I didn't do those, it would affect me if I didn't go through that first. Let me just think. So this is okay, so I want to replace this event. I gotta make sure I do this. And then I need to change that to bind players. I'll bind characters. There we go. Oh, why is that not plugging in? Oh, wait. Oh, okay, I there's another thing I forgot to... Yeah, okay, that's also... I need to make sure that that's correct. There we go. All right. And I need to make sure that that is the right type of variable. Okay, so now that that's there, I think... Okay, those are all returning the correct thing. So now I should be able to plug that in and then plug that in there. Let me just... I need to check another thing. Okay, yeah, that has to be ticked on. Cool. All right, so... Gotta add an override as well. So I'm just gonna set this up so that that event will trigger on begin play. Whoa. Cool. And then movement mode. Okay, so I want... I can only get previous movement mode, not current movement mode. I wonder why that is. Let me just... I gotta check something. Oh, okay, well that's... Oh, wait. Okay, well, okay, this might actually be a bit tricky, because it's not exposing everything I need. Let's... yeah, it's only... it says previous. I don't want previous. Oh, well, we'll see what we can do. We might be able to do something with that. Or... no, actually, yeah, no, actually, we can just do this. I think it's this, hold on. There we go. So if, okay, here we go. So if the previous movement mode, we'll switch that, was falling, and if the current movement mode is... Oh, can I not, do I have to like type in an index? To do one. Hopefully that will correspond to this. Because if we go from falling to walking, then we want to count that. I mean, yeah, we'll see. I don't know if that'll work, but we'll see how we do there. But that's the general gist of what I'm trying to do. I just don't know if this combination will actually, well, I guess we'll find out. But I think there is still, there's something I'm missing. Yeah, because I do have a boolean to allow us to unbind this event, which that's just standard for all my other ones, so I'll make sure that that's in there. There we go. And then, oh, this, oh yeah, that just goes there. Cool. Alrighty. All right, we'll see how that goes, but let me move this out of the way, 'cause it's we'll move it down there. And I guess with this I can get rid of, I just need this one event. And we'll just put this down here for the moment. Oh. What is this? Ah. I guess, yeah, sometimes if you overwrite things like that, it won't work. But if you do that, there we go, there we go. All right, let me just think what's next. Because I've got a lot of I might close some of this stuff. I got a lot open. I'll leave this, that's the base metric. I can close that. I guess I can probably close this. And this is just the int. Okay. So what this should do, I don't know. Well, let's give it a test run, shall we? So what we want to do, we'll add this to a category. We'll call this landed. I don't know why that's there. We don't need that empty variable. All right. So I've got these grouped nicely in a little, oh, I'll group these two. I like putting my things in categories. Call it land counter. Land counter. So now we should have a little category of variables, because this is inherited. So it's got all our metric stuff, and then it should have these. So what we want to do is basically go to our mission and add this. Oh yeah, there's one more thing. I want to make a nice little tooltip and give this a name in this little extras menu here. So we'll make a little like tooltip, a description, keeps track of the amount of times character has landed. So now if I save that, because there's a reason I filled that out. If I then go to the mission, which is the main thing that's going to be running all this, if I go add component and go landed count, oh, is it there? Oh, land counter. There we go. We can add that in. And then we just got to tick include player character and bind on initialize. Now this we might need a bit more of these for different things, and we'll get to that when we get to that. But for the moment, let's see. Oh yeah, I can close that. Let's see what happens if it actually keeps track of anything. I don't know. I don't know what'll happen. Okay, there's no metric on screen yet, so we need to set one up. One moment. It might actually be working, it's just not displaying on screen yet. So I gotta make sure I do that. And to do that, I'm gonna copy something from another thing. I'm just gonna look at something. Because there is a... Add counter. Because we gotta make... Okay, is there a metric? Oh no, there is... Yeah, so we just gotta make sure that there's an actual... Well, I'll just paste that all in there. Okay, now it should display something on the screen. Okay. Alright, I have to... It's called enemy. I gotta relabel that. It's got the wrong bit of text displaying. So I need to open up this little thing. Change... This is where I control the HUD of all of these. So I want to change... this. I want to change this to read landed. Because I just want to be able to have it track how many times I land. Alright. Okay, so it isn't working at the moment, but at least the number shows up. It's just not tracking. So, it means that that thing I wrote did not work. Or... Well, let's try it one more time, because sometimes you gotta give it like a few goes. Okay, that's not working. Alright, so let's try and figure out where this is going on. Because it might be not binding it, or it might, I don't know. Is this event actually firing? Let's find out. Okay, so the event is firing. That's good. It's just not incrementing. So it knows, okay, let's get to here. Okay, I've got something plugged. Okay, it has to go, okay. It has to, when we go walking, and then it switches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that's what it... I think, I'm assuming it's based on this index here. I actually don't know, but we'll see. So if I jump... Okay. It did something. But it isn't incrementing. That's, okay, that's kind of, I don't know why, like, this should be incrementing upwards. Let's see if we can get, if it prints anything out. Okay, it was not, it's printing false, which means it didn't actually set the number. Oh. Wait, I think I might know what it is. It might be really simple. I hope it is. I actually don't know. Oh, hey, Bergman. Yo. Is the man berging? Oh, thanks, Mifayev, for modding. Appreciate it. Oh, thanks, Scott. I hope so, too. Well, yeah, that's kind of what I'm trying to... It's checking whenever we touch the ground. That's what it's supposed to do. So yeah, now I've got it so that when our movement mode... Oh, no, wait a minute. No, I think I did have that set up right. Because the thing is... When previous... Okay, well, let's just pay attention to what goes on there. Okay, because that's firing at the wrong... So it needs to be when the previous mode is falling, not when this... Yeah. So I think this was actually correct the way I had it, because we can't, for some reason, this event will not return the current movement mode. We have to actually go into this and get it. Or maybe we can... No. So we have to get it from the component and check what that is compared to the previous one. So when this has changed, and if the previous mode was falling, and if the current, I mean, hopefully that's what it's doing. When the current mode is equal to that, it should then increment. Which, okay, that's working. It's just this is not working. It's returning failed, which means like this is a whole event that I've written that does stuff. It checks things. I think what I need to make sure of is that the actual metric is on. So I need to turn set active on initialize on, because the actual metric might be turned off. Oh, okay, it's working now. All right, yeah, hold on. Okay, so it isn't. We need to do a little bit of like things to optimize this a little. But watch this. It's working. It goes up every time I land. Isn't that poggers? That's pretty poggers. Cool. All right, so there's only a few issues with this, because what it's doing is I can't actually. It's always on. I can't turn it off, and there's a reason why I might want that. Because if we restart the mission, oh well, no, that's not what I want. Okay, and the metric doesn't despawn. Okay, so there's a few little things we got to sort out here. But you notice how right now, because when you start the mission, this is an important distinction here. When you start the mission is loaded, but the mission is not active. That's why you see the watch is not going up. The mission will not activate until I touch this red thing. The problem is that what I want is that the metric on the landed metric up there, I want that to be off until I touch that thing. But if I jump right now, it'll increment. And I don't want it to do that. I only want it to start to turn on once I've actually touched that object. Now, the reason it's doing that is because I've only got one boolean right now called set bind on initialize. And then I've got this other thing where it goes set metric active on initialize, which will just turn it on whenever that object is loaded in. And that's not what I want to do. I want to bind it and initialize it at a specific point, which I haven't set up yet. So we're going to have to figure out how we do. There is a way we can do it. I just got to remember, we just got to have a few more booleans in there. And we got to listen for a few more events. I just need to check something. Because what we essentially want to do is we want that event, because there's two things. Because first of all, actually we can solve one of these now without me having to write any code. We can solve one of these now. If I go to the thing, wherever it is, the mission, I'm going to turn off bind on initialize. But there should be something in here. Oh no, sorry. It was set active on initialize. So what I want it to do instead is set active when the mission is active. So there should be a thing here called set active on mission started. True. Now you say, well, Ray, it's set to true. Why isn't it turning on when the mission is active? And that's because it doesn't know what the mission is. So I got to turn on include loaded missions and include only active missions. So now this will only the event will still fire, but the number will not increment until we have touched the red. So you'll notice it stays at 0, and if I touch there, now it goes up. But there's there's a bit of extra like things with the way I've built this framework that I'll need to set up as well. And that is, I'll see if I can find where all of that is. Thanks guys. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I just gotta try and remember what it, because there's a certain thing I have to do. It's basically deciding when we bind that, because it might not look like anything goes wrong now. It might look like it's working now, but I guarantee you if I leave it the way it is now, something later is going to happen, and it's gonna glitch up, and I'm gonna go, why is this doing this? So there's a certain... It might not be as important for this specific one, but for the other ones, it's vital that I've had this in. So I'm going to add it here as well, just on principle. Because what I want to be able to do, because here's the thing, is that metrics, because this is part of a parent class, they can be saved, loaded, activated, deactivated, and bound. And we've added a new way this is in this metric that we've done, we've added a new way in which it binds. It adds a new bind event. But this can only happen when on begin play, essentially. And what I'd like to do is only bind it when the mission is actually loaded. Or whatever, because we actually have a bunch of preset events we can listen for that kind of stuff. So let me, first of all, just group this and go bind character events. Make that into a nice bubble. Because what I want to control when this binds. Because at the moment, this has to be on, and I don't want that to be on. Because I want to be able to control when it's bound and unbound. Because there's reasons why. Yeah, like trust me, I've been bug fixing and troubleshooting this for a while now, and I know when something isn't quite done. Because I know when something wrong might happen. So to prevent that from happening, as a preemptive measure, we're gonna do a bit of extra setup. But it will basically mean I won't have to touch this component ever again. I just gotta remember what to look for, because there's a certain thing I have to do. So I think I'll leave that open. I can close that. I think I can. I'll leave. I'll use this as my reference because the speedometer works in a similar. Let me just check. There might be. I don't know if a variable exists for this or not. Auto detect. Oh, I guess I didn't do that for this one. Okay, maybe. I thought I'd have to have more work here. Maybe I can get away not doing that. Set. Oh, okay. There's no... Okay, so for this... Okay, I didn't do this for the speedometer component. I was thinking there was some... I thought I had these things to tell it when to bind, and I guess I didn't do that. I swore I did. Maybe there's one reason I didn't. Because for every other component... I'll see if I can provide an example, because this might sound... This probably doesn't make any sense, but to try and illustrate what I'm trying to explain... Okay, here we go. So this is the parent class. And remember how I mentioned earlier that every metric can respond to player events. Here's the health event stuff. So for example, we can actually tell metrics to turn off or turn on or whenever when certain events happen, like if the player dies, if the player respawns and whatever. And I think this is what I'm... Actually, yeah, here we go. So I wanted to create these two things. Bind on activate and bind on deactivate. So I'll go ahead and do that. Okay, it's just a bit of brain fog because there's a lot of... These things have lots of variables. If I scroll down, there's a lot of variables. So I get a little lost sometimes, but I know what I need to make now. Bind on activate. Now there's some extra, I think there is extra stuff, but we'll just focus on these for the moment. But yeah, there's these other ones too here, where with the mission, they can react to mission events, like set active on mission loaded, on unloaded, on started, on ended, on complete. So we can actually tell metrics to just shut off when mission events happen too, which actually we might want, because one thing we don't want is for it to keep tracking that number once the mission is ended, which it will do at the moment, and we don't want that. So we should add those. So let me just make a list of what I need. So we need a... one moment. bind on deactivate. And these are all event dispatcher driven, which I've got the dispatchers set up already. And then we need set. Set active. Okay, for because we can also save and load this too. All right, let me just think, because it's not hard, it's just tedious. It's like I might leave that for later. But I'll make a list and I'll worry about some of this stuff later because it's just boring to implement. But we'll get to the funds. We'll skip ahead to the fun. I just want to make a list so I remember for later. Oh, well, wait. Okay, wait a minute. No, these should already be part of the... okay, I might not need these other ones. Actually, no, I don't need those ones. I just need the bind ones. Sorry, I got a bit lost there. I just need those ones. Because we're bind... yeah, let me just add that. So we just need those. And I guess bind, I've already got bind on initialized, which I'll tick off here just to know that I've done it. And then there's this. Oh, actually, those should already be there too because it's inherited. All right, so I think that's actually, no, this actually might not be as tedious as I thought. We actually might be able to do this pretty quick. All right, so it's just a bit of repetitive stuff, but once we get through it, we then get to the fun bit. Okay, so I just gotta. I'll put this on my other screen. Yeah, look, a lot of this, it's gonna take me like an hour to explain because of how but it's my system. It's designed a certain way, but the outcome is good. It just means that when I get to stuff like this, it won't make sense because of how I've done it. But just bear with me. Just bear with me. It'll make sense. It's just hard to, because look, I'm not a programmer. I don't know how to explain this very well, but I know in my head how it works. But to get to the point where all of this happens, there's a lot of dispatchers that are firing. Most of this complications come from the mission state, which is a whole other system, which we're not gonna go into because that can get kind of complicated. So let me just bind character on. Wait a minute, I mistyped something on my notes. I just gotta check something. Bind a character on activate. Okay, I wrote one too many things on my... I've only got 3. I gotta make it just 3. Bind character on activate. I think that's what it was. Okay, yep. And then bind on... I'll add a tooltip while I'm here. But yeah, look, you could get away not doing this, but you'll need to do it later. I might as well get it out of the way now. That's kind of been what my attitude's been for the past few months. The reason why the progress looks slow right now is because just on, like, this isn't the only thing that's cooking, by the way, but on this specific thing, because this is such a critical system for the game content, it's at the point now where it's like, you can't afford to just prototype it together. You have to kind of like think about it like, all right, well, I want to have to not touch this ever for the rest of the project. So a lot of the choices I'm making to do certain things and stuff, it's paying tech debt now so I don't have to do it later. That's what most of it is. That's why it's kind of taken a while. But it means later on, it's all this is kind of the main like meme I think of the whole project, right? Is like, yes, immediately doesn't look spectacular, but it pays off later. That's kind of the level you got to sort of think at this stage. because trust me, I've known people that have let that tech debt accumulate, and oh boy, let me tell you, it is not a situation you want to be in. So that's why I'm kind of trying to proactively avoid it on this. I don't get to do that with everything because there's just not enough time, but for this, I have to, because this is a very like critical system. Whether to bind characters when metric is activated is deactivated. Oh yeah, I need to set these as well to a enum. There's a custom enum I've made. So yeah, this bit might not make sense, but trust me, okay? I don't know. While we're doing, actually, I was gonna ask you guys something, and I forgot what it was now. I had a whole thing in my head. I was like, I'm gonna be social and ask the audience fun questions, but I've forgotten what all those are now. I've too far in the nerd mode now. I can't. I gotta turn my social engine drivers back on. I think of something fun to talk about while I set this up, because this is gonna be a bit dry, but I should be done with this in a few minutes. I don't know. How are you guys doing? How's life? How are you guys going? I don't know if you heard. This is this is my Oblivion tier dialogue right now. But I've heard news from the other provinces that apparently the World Health whatever has now declared that the pandemic is like not there now or something. I don't know. I don't follow it all too much. Apparently it's they've lowered from red alert to yellow alert or whatever. I don't know. It's something like that. That's what I hear around town. Apparently. So I guess that's kind of cool. Have I been? You know, I've just been trying to get through stuff. I have been very busy. There's been my patrons and my YouTube members will know exactly what's been happening. There's been a lot that I'm not showing at the moment because I want to save it up. But there's some cool stuff cooking. Okay, I've got some cool stuff. But that's been a lot of work. I've had some help on it, which has been great. But it's... yeah, I'm trying to think, because I'd love to share more, which I can't, unfortunately, because I have to wait. But yeah, there's been lots. I've just been kind of grinding away at it. I'm trying to think if there's anything outside the game. I don't know. Is there anything outside the game I can talk about that's funny? You're in Tokyo. Oh, cool. Oh, that's awesome, man. That's great. VFX artist. Are you from Tokyo or did you move? Oh, you said since 14 months. So I'm assuming, I want to guess that means that you moved to Tokyo 14 months ago. I'm guessing. Is that, am I reading that correctly? You tell me. Oh yeah, no, yeah, obviously COVID is not gone. I think it just means that like the state of pandemic or whatever is now like deactivated. But it's now just kind of around, like, at least for me, look, because I've had it. Yeah, actually, no, yeah, I had it during when we were doing our funding deadline. I had it at the worst possible time. I keep forgetting that I had COVID during that. But yeah, no, I remember having it, and yeah, no, I mean, look, I'm lucky because I'm young, okay, so I have a immunity, I suppose. And yeah, look, it was a very irritating, annoying flu or cold. It was still kind of, look, you know, like I was really annoyed by it. Because I couldn't like think, I couldn't focus, my entire body ached, and I just could not get any work done. Like, and I felt terrible. I think the actual thing that felt worse wasn't the side effects. It was just the fact that I had this deadline and that I couldn't do anything. That actually hurt more than actually being sick, because I was actually a little happy to get sick, because then it's like, okay, I have an excuse to just take it easy for a bit, because I was kind of burning myself out a little at the time. So I was like, okay, I can indulge and relax now because I have an excuse to relax because I'm physically incapable of working. But it's not. I don't know. Like when you have that deadline up, it's just in there. Like you can't really relax because it's like, well, like I can't physically. Like I have to lie down. If I sit up, I hurt, so I have to lie down. But I have this thing that's due in 3 weeks. That was kind of more stressful than actually having the virus. But when you try and switch that, because I tried really hard to just ignore that and go, look, there's nothing I can do about it. There's no point stressing about it. No amount of stress will make the virus go away. So just deal with it. And when I kind of was able near the end, I was able to kind of let go of that. And I actually ended up enjoying a day or two just watching movies. That was nice. But yeah, no, it was, but it was basically, I don't know, like I've had other sicknesses before that had the same kind of thing. It was like a cold. It was like just a bad cold, I guess. I know that not everyone has it like that. Like it's varies a lot depending on your immunity, and your other factors. So I got quite lucky, I guess. But yeah, I guess because just from my point of view, from what I experienced, yeah, I wasn't as alarmed by it after I got it, because I know everyone was kind of in hysteria when it first came out, as people should. But once I had it, I was like, I wasn't really worried about getting it again anymore, because it's like, oh well, it took me out for a week. I didn't die. I had a cough for a month and so afterwards. It was inconvenient, but here I am. I'm still. It feels like I never had it, so I wasn't as scared. Because I used to be quite paranoid about going out when it first came up. Anyway, sorry, I have a tough time being social and programming at the same time. So let me just quickly remember what it is I was supposed to be doing. But thanks for asking. Oh, you got it when you planned to. Oh, that's a shame, man. Yeah, I would have been really sad if I had got it in that situation. Does live streaming cost you more time? Yeah, it does a bit. But I like, it's worth it sometimes. There's a reason for that. It's a complicated reason. But let's just say I knew a guy who was also making a game. He kind of wishes he spent more time engaging with his community, let's say. So that's kind of where there's like that balance. If I went completely dark, that might not be so good either. But at the there's that balance of like being productive and keeping people engaged, because now I've got people that are into the project and want to follow it. Not all you don't want to overindulge in being on YouTube, but I think it is important every so often to like touch base. I think you guys appreciate that. I'd hope. Like I might not be as active as every other game dev YouTuber, but I'd like to think you guys go, oh, well, okay, well, at least, he's working on some stuff. That's cool. Because it is important, I think, that I continue that. Because, you guys have been following this some of you have been following this for years. And I think I kind of owe it to you to keep you guys, updated on what's happening. I know I don't get to do it as often as I used to, but that's because mainly with the devlogs, I've just kind of taken on a different attitude with them. I tend to save up the devlogs for big milestones now, which I'm kind of glad I'm doing, because you guys will still get to know what's happening, but it'll be in these nice big episodes now instead of, this week I added this tiny thing, because we're not really at that stage anymore. So yeah, I do have some cooking, but it'll be a while still. There's a lot that needs doing first before we hit the next milestone. But I think it is, yeah, like, while it does take time away from the game to engage with the community, if it wasn't for the community, I wouldn't have a game to publish. So that's something if you're in my position, that's something you got to remember. Okay, I gotta get back into programming at the moment. I just gotta remember what I was doing. Oh yeah, I was adding those things. That's right. Sorry, I got a bit sidetracked there. So yeah, I do get sidetracked when I stream. I know I'm not the most. I don't know. Some people are really great at multitasking. I'm just not that kind of guy. But I put in an effort to try and sort of keep people updated on what's happening. Because I've seen what happens when you don't, let's just say. Like I've seen what happens when you like get people interested in something and then just completely like go radio silent. I've seen what happens. And that's tough. You don't want to be in that position. Yeah. technically what I'm doing right now, some like Steam marketing guru out there would probably call this marketing. I don't really see it that way, but I guess it is in a way. It is kind of true. So yeah. So it is still work, I guess. It's just PR type work, you know? Oh, what was I doing? Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I gotta get back. It's just when I'm doing drawing streams, it's a bit easier, but when I'm doing programming stuff like this, it can be a little tricky for me to, because I usually, when I do this, I'm just in dead silence and I look like a dead fish. It's pretty boring. I just gotta remember. Yeah, no, I'm just. But yeah, it's also like 9 p.m. So I've been like, at this time of day, I tend to slow down a bit. So, all right, let's get this out. Let's go. I gotta go and look for. I think what I need. There's an event dispatcher I'm looking for. Set active. Set metric. I think this is what I want. And I want to go back to here. I need to read something. Set metric active. Do you go to the gym? No. No. Maybe I should, but I don't know, man. I'm not a gym type guy. I just can't, I don't think you'd ever catch me in a gym. I try and, I go for walks. I like walking. I'm not a big fan of going to a public place and pumping iron. I don't know. Maybe it's because I think because I use the word YouTuber very loosely here. I wouldn't consider myself a YouTuber, but I guess I kind of am because I do make YouTube videos from time to time. But from that point of view, you kind of perceive being in public differently. Like I really like not being seen. So I don't like being noticed when I go anywhere. And now that I have a YouTube channel and I was actually recognized in public once, I'm a lot more conscious about where I go and how often I go out or whatever, like, yeah. So I'm like Shrek, okay? I like my privacy. I like me and my swamp. That's me. I'm a very solitary guy. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like gyms, they're very, like, I've been once, like maybe 6 years ago or something. I went with a friend. If I wasn't for this friend, I wouldn't have gone. I had to have a friend with me. But I don't know. I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe if you're an extrovert, you feel comfortable, but I don't. I just don't feel comfortable in a gym. People don't need to see me pump an iron, okay? Or whatever, I don't know, whatever people do at gyms. No one needs to see that. Well, yeah, look, my fingers get a great workout from my line of work. But yeah, no, I don't know, like, not only that, but I don't enjoy, I don't know, a lot of like fitness lifestyle stuff. It's just I'm not passionate about it, and I have a tough time doing things I'm not interested in. Like, I don't understand how the human body works. I don't understand it. I don't really want to. I don't have an interest in it. It doesn't further my goals in any way. So I don't know. I don't really, I just don't have the bandwidth to kind of pay attention to it, I guess. Now, I was going to check something. Aha. Here it is. Okay, because I'm looking at this and how this is all set up. I just need to find reference. I gotta see where this is getting called. Aha. Let me just, I go back and read something. So I've got on activate, deactivate, and complete. Okay, because look, I haven't looked at this part of the code in a while, so I gotta just remember how this works. Because look, the reason I'm being so careful is because I know if I move one of these, it's gonna break. Nothing will work. So I just gotta be careful with how, because I'm trying to essentially set up a similar thing on the other metric. Just give me a moment. I just gotta think. I just gotta focus. Because look, I don't know if I don't know. I can try and explain it, but it'll take a while to explain. But essentially, these metrics, this base class, because it reacts to so many different events, stuff like this becomes important. Because it does take into account lots of things. So it looks deceptively simple. It looks like it just tracks numbers, but it actually does a lot more. That's what I'm trying to kind of work around. I'm working around all the invisible stuff I've added in that doesn't look, it looks very innocuous. Like when you see them actually running, it's like, oh, this looks simple, but you can just tell by the amount of nodes here that there's actually quite a bit going on. So I just got to make sure that it plays nice with all this extra stuff. That's basically what I'm doing. That's the basics of that. I just gotta concentrate for a sec, because on these, if I go to the metric active, yeah, okay, well, let's start, because I gotta take this a step at a time. So I'll just replace these, because oh, that's not the right event. Where is it? Oh, that's not, sorry, I pasted it in the wrong place. Here. Oh. I should rename these. These are not named correctly. I sent the message twice, I'm sorry. Well, no, both are good questions, and the answer both is yes, as I concur. I concur with both of your messages. That means I concur double. That means I extra agree with it. But no, for real, if you're doing indie dev or whatever, or just in general, if you're a computer nerd, you should try and get some habits. Like, look, I'm not the best at this stuff, but I try and make some habits to treat my body, because look, people, like, I'm of the attitude that I don't really care about my body. I'm just, everything I need is here. But what a lot of health experts will probably tell you is that your mind and your body are not separate. They are one and the same, and you must respect them as such. And I definitely need to respect them a lot more. But you know, I try and like do what I can. And I can walk. I actually do like walking, so that's kind of I try and go for like a 6 kilometer walk every day. That's how I work out, if you can call it. I don't know. I don't know if that counts, but it's better than not doing anything, I think. So that's kind of what I'm prepared to do. There's probably more you could do. You know, you could get all into the having a routine or whatever. I don't know, because look, I don't get it. I don't know what kind of stretches you're supposed to do. Like, I have no clue. I don't have any interest in learning it. I have enough to learn anyway, so walking is easy, so it's like, oh, I could probably just do that. Better than doing nothing. So if you're not walking at least 6Ks, no, I don't know how many you need to do. Maybe 2. Start off with that. The reason I can walk 6 is because there's a specific place I know I can get to that does not feel like 6, but when you total it up, it is 6. So that's sort of how I hack it. Because I just walk around and I just think. I don't even really realize. Like, by the time I'm finished, it's like, oh wow, that was a whole hour. You know, but it actually is helpful, because then it's like having fresh air. I used to not notice. I used to not care about that, but it's actually kind of helpful. I just got to make sure that this is going in the right place. I think what I need. I think that goes first, and then that. Cool. All right. Now. Oh yeah, then I gotta change this to bind. What did I call? I don't know what I called it. Bind characters. All right, cool. That is definitely going to stay there, but there's more. Because I've noticed that, I just gotta think. Because this input, I need to tell it what to be, and I haven't done that yet. And I don't remember where I'm supposed to do that. Because it's, I need something like this in the initialize function. Or do I? No, wait. Let me, okay, no, I think I've actually, yeah, no, I think what I just did is, I just need to do that one more in some other place, and then I think we're good. Yeah, sorry, a bit of brain fog. Like, look, I'm a bit tired, okay, so... And, like, okay, do you guys see this? This is, like, what I mean. Look, I want to explain what all these does, but it would take too long, okay? But look, how do I get that back? I don't know if you guys saw that. But look at the amount, like, this is the amount of events that are part of this thing. And they all do something, and to explain what all these do is just going to take too long. But this is what I was trying to talk about before. The reason I'm setting this stuff up is because it has to make sure it isn't getting in the way of any of these. Like, there's a lot of event dispatches, okay? There's a lot going on. So that's why I'm doing this getting through this. But look, once I get through this, I will not have to ever touch this bit of code for the rest of development. So this doesn't seem like a big deal right now, but it will be a big deal later. So that's kind of the thing I have to keep saying, which it's tough. You basically have to be the opposite of Gen Z and completely cut yourself from instant gratification. You have to practice very delayed gratification, and it'll make sense. So I think I need to... Oh, wait, no, maybe there is something I'm missing, because something doesn't seem right about this. But let's move on to... what was it I was doing? I need to add one more event. Set metric complete. So I need to copy and paste this here. Or wait, no, hold on. Maybe, no, I think I'm thinking about, okay, even I'm a bit confused here, actually. See, this is what I think I was trying to also say this before, is that this, even I can get lost, okay? Because there's a lot happening. But there's a specific way I've set it up. And I've tested this in a lot of different places, and it has to be done this way. And believe me when I say, because when you don't set it up the right way, you get issues. And it's not the kind of issues that you'd even notice. It's these really obscure issues that pop up when a specific set of circumstances happen. And that's the thing I'm trying to avoid. Because that's less bugs I have to solve later. So you might not know the specifics. You don't really have to know the specifics. It's just in principle, it's avoiding problems later. But I just need to pay careful attention to something. And I think I've just realized that... Oh... Okay, I've just realized that what I'm doing is not going to work. Because this... I don't know, I'm trying to think if I can explain it, because my neurons are firing faster than I can talk right now. But what I was trying to do is not really going to work, because of the way I've got these set up. Okay, yeah, we'll forget it. This is... What I was going to do is not going to work. But wait, no, hold on. No, there's something... Sorry, if this doesn't... Look, I know it's hard to follow along, okay? I'm trying my best. It's just... Because I've been working with this code for a few months now, when I sleep, I dream in... Like, my dreams are about this, okay? Like, this... I don't know, maybe some programmers can relate. You know when you get really into something, and it's literally... It's like having a Google Chrome tab in your brain open all the time. Like, that's kind of how it feels, okay? When I sleep, I dream about okay, I just need to configure this, and then this will work, and then, like, that's what's going in my head all the time. And that's been happening for a few months now. So I'm a little familiar with all this. Let's put it like that. So when I am thinking stuff, when you're seeing my eyes dart around, that is the culmination of, like, my RAM being focused on this for too long. And I'm literally, like, thinking too far. Like, I don't know if that makes any sense, but basically because I'm so familiar with it, and it's been in memory so long, I know I'm describing my brain like a computer here, but that's the best I can describe it. Because I'm so familiar with it, I can, like, in my brain, it's going, oh, because you've added this other thing in here and here and here, and this is the stuff that you guys don't know about, that then this will happen in this consequence and stuff. So, and it's going through that so quickly because I've just been thinking about all this for so long that I literally don't even know where to begin to explain it, because I haven't had to explain this to people before. I haven't had to rubber duck this out yet. So how do I get my... okay, can I get rid of this and have it still work is what I'm trying to think. Because I'm trying to reverse out of this now because I think I've gone a little too far of what I was trying to do. Because I've realized now that what I'm trying to do is not going to work. Because of this input. Or... no, maybe... actually, no. Scratch that. Maybe. If I do this instead. One moment. I'm gonna try one. I want to put a set of nodes together and look at it, and I'll be able to tell if it works, and if not, I'll drop this, and if it does work, I'll try and quickly get it in. But I don't know, do any programmers, do you kind of get what my brain is going through at the moment? Like, I'm trying my best to describe it. But I've been in the trenches too long. That's kind of how it is. It's like if you've been in a maze for a few months, and someone asks you what's at the fourth corner on the north side, and you can tell, you know exactly what's there, but the person you're talking to has never seen the maze, and it's like you've been staring and obsessing over it so long that your brain can instantly put the consequences together of what's happening, but it's faster than you can explain it. That's okay. I will stop trying to explain it now because that's the best I can do. I know that doesn't make sense. But this is how game development can get sometimes, especially as a solo when you don't have a team to explain it to. So yeah, it's just okay. Just let me think. So, okay. I think this might be it actually. So I just need to do that. Okay, this is gonna look. I'll clean this up later, like after the stream, because you guys don't need to see me dragging stuff around for more. Because I want to move on to the next cool bit soon. So I just want to get this out of the way. And look, you know, this is kind of why I haven't been streaming a lot lately, because it's just this stuff. And it really won't make sense. Like, I know none of this makes any sense. So I'm trying to just keep it to the cool, fun stuff. I knew that we'd have a bit of this in, but I did get a bit lost. So hopefully I'm out of the trenches now. I think what should happen now... okay, I think we might be able to actually go ahead now. So if I go here... okay, what should happen? What should happen is nothing. I should be able to do this and it should not track it. Okay, no, it is still tracking. Because I wanted to set it so that it what am I trying to explain? Oh no, yeah, I want to turn that off. Okay, all right. So now when I play it, what should happen is it should not track anything. But when I then turn this on, if I turn that on, now it should track. And if it doesn't, okay, it does. Okay, good. All right. I know that this doesn't probably make sense, but it's working the way it should, and that's all that matters. So I'm gonna just real quick. I'm gonna set these as the defaults. I'm gonna go false, true. Oh no, sorry, false, false, and true. Okay, look, it works now. I can leave this alone. I actually did figure it out. So basically, I'll see if I could. I don't know. You guys have been patient. I'll try and explain. Why these I had to get these in. Okay, so there's some variables, right? And on this metric, if we scroll way down to this is the little these, because remember this inherits from a base class with a bunch of these other things in there, and these are all set up to do things. Don't worry about those. We just want to worry about this. So on this area, these are the new things we've set up. What will happen is, on the mission, we have this one ticked on, which is include player character, which what this will do is, when you run this metric and activate it, it will bind, because remember, it has this event, bind characters, and it binds a character class. This tick box will know to include the player. That's what it'll do. And then these drop-downs I've just made will basically say, because remember, the mission has a state machine, but so do these metrics. They have states too. So when you start a mission, these metrics will be disabled. You'll be able to see them on screen, but they will not be active. That's why before the mission starts, I don't want you to track the amount of times you've landed. I only want that to happen after the mission started, which is what this should do. And you might say, well, Ray, it says bind on activate. What is activate? So activate is when this metric is turned on. When we want to start tracking what this number does. On deactivate, it'll turn off, and on complete is when it reaches a certain amount, which we can actually do something with. This is what we're actually going to need for the game over state. We'll get to that later though. But the idea is we want to bind, because think of binding as listening. When do we want this to start and stop listening to the character? Think of it like that. So when we have this event here, bind characters, it's basically saying, hey, can I zoom in? Yeah, like these, it's like, hey, listen to the character. And then this one is stop listening to the character. So what I've just set up here, I'm pretty sure it works. With these, is that when the metric itself is enabled, it will then bind itself to the player. It start listening to it. And when the metric is turned off, for example, when the mission is complete, it will stop listening to the character. That's why, and this stuff has ramifications for other things too, because you can have other parts of the mission or different metrics can also listen for all of those and react to them. And it's all interconnected. So that's, and I won't get on, because that's a whole other thing. We won't get into all the ramifications of it, but let's just say it's important that it's set up this way. And now that it's set up that way, I don't have to ever touch this ever, unless there's a bug. I don't think there will be. So that's cool. All right. So now we get to the fun bit, because I think this works now. Let's get to the fun bit, because what we want is we want the mission to end when that number has reached a certain amount. So let's recap. So for those that have joined late, we have now got this mission type. The mechanics of this working, the tracker that it's all based on now works. So when I jump, whenever I land on the ground, that number goes up. And you'll notice it actually plays an animation too, which is pretty cool. And there's more. Also, if I go and die, oh wait, no, okay, there's something I have to set up. Because what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to play an animation when I die. So I don't think I've got that set up. I'll make sure I do that real quick. This is another thing for why all that like tedious setup I did. That's why this is important, so that I can do something like this. So let me just like save everything, and I'll go to this, and then I need to scroll down to health, and go include player pawn, and I think that's it. I'll tick some of these, like load value on respawn, because maybe we want that. And I just got to check one more thing. Okay, we're good. So what'll happen now? Here's another, is one of the reasons why setting up that stuff I showed earlier is important. So you'll see that when the mission is active, it'll keep that number on screen. But if I die, that number will animate off and animate back, right? And you'll notice that it actually resets. Because one thing you can tell it to do is you can tell it to load a value when you die. And you can have it save a value too when a checkpoint is reached. Now, there seems to be an issue here, actually, that I've just noticed. Where... Oh, it's because it's not... yeah, hold on. While the mission is active, it should work. Okay, there we go. So there's one little tick box I gotta turn on, because it seems to not do it unless the mission is active. So let me just go and check. Because that's another one of the main things that's been consuming my time lately is something will work in one condition and it won't work somewhere else. So that's a lot of been just sweeping up lots of those sorts of things. So let me just find that, because I know the watch is set up correctly. I just got to find how this is done. False, true, mission include item. Just got to check something. That's what I need. I need to just swap those two around. All right, let's test that again, because now what should happen is even when the mission is inactive, it should still hide and show itself when I die. Cool, all right, that works now. And then when I play the mission, because what's actually happening, because there is a bit of a delay when we die, and that's actually, for the watch in particular, it's important, because you'll actually notice that when we hit one of those fan blades, the watch actually pauses. It turns off, and then it turns back on when we respawn. So it's getting those sorts of things going on. So now the landed counter actually works with that now too, as every metric should. It's just sometimes the default values aren't set up correctly, so I've gone and done that now. All right, anyway, with that out of the way, now we get to the actual fun bit. So what we got to do next is we can actually give this a threshold to compare against. So what we can do is we can go to the land counter, this new metric we've got, and we can turn on clamp max value and then complete on max value. And then we can actually give it a max value. So let's make that let's make it 5, just to start, just as a test. So if I go and do that, you'll notice something. That number now says 0 out of 5. And every time I jump, when I get over 5, it will deactivate. Cool. But we want to do something else when that happens. And this is where the event dispatchers come in handy. Because what we now want to do is we want to end the mission when we get over that threshold. So we want to go down, and this is, look, all of that slow work leads up to moments like this, where implementing a thing like this is super easy. So watch this. This is the bit you want to pay attention to. This is the cool bit. And this will easily make sense, I promise. So we want to go down, because here's that new metric. This is on the mission actor, by the way. So this mission actor controls that whole mission state. It keeps track of the amount of times you've landed. We then want to go to that metric and scroll down, and there should be a event dispatcher that I've already set up called on metric complete, or set metric complete. So we want to add an event for that. And then we want to make a branch so that when the metric is complete, I'll zoom out. It's a bit too close. So when the metric is complete, we want to get the mission and go set mission active. And by default, that'll be unticked, which is exactly what we want. Because you know what that's going to mean? It's going to deactivate. It's going to end the mission. So now, I think that's actually it. Like, I think we might be done. Like, this is done now. Because watch this. If I start the mission, if I land on the ground 5 times, game over. And we are done. That's it. It's finished. So if we wanted to make this hard, what we could do is change that number to, like, let's say you can't touch the ground at all, not even once. All we have to do is change the max value to 1, and that's it. Now the mission will end when you touch, not because you start the mission on the ground, obviously, so it won't end it instantly. But if you jump and then land, game over. And if you'd reach, and it'll actually load itself back when you retry. So let's try and get to the end now without touching the floor. And I did it. First go. Pretty cool. But if I tried to do that again, and if I touch that bit of ground, nah, mission failed, buddy. You got to do that again. All right, let's try it again. And you'll also... Oh, wait. Okay, there's one more problem. The other problem is that this seems to be on even when the mission isn't active. So that was one of the things I was trying to prevent. I need to look... Okay, I need to look at something. Because it shouldn't be doing that. Because I do want to give you that grace period at the beginning. And there's a reason I'm doing that, and I'll explain that once I get this to work, because this is actually important. This will make sense to you, why I want to have that grace period. You and the player, I know the player will notice and appreciate this bit, but I just got to make sure one thing is enabled. I think there's just a thing in here. Active on mission load. Okay, well that's set active on mission. Bind on activate on deactivate. Okay. There's something not right. It's listening to the player when it shouldn't be. And this is what I was trying to, while I was staring at those nodes 20 minutes ago, that's what I was trying, that was going through my head, all that stuff. Situations like this. I just need to look at what's going on. So if I start the mission, okay, so this is actually acting the way it's supposed to. This is before the mission is active. And you might say, well, Ray, can't you just go to the end when the mission's inactive? I've already thought of that, buddy. Watch this. If I try and reach the end before the mission is active, the goal won't do anything. It won't mission complete or anything. So I have to go back and touch this, which will then activate the metric, which, oh, it looks like it activated it just as I landed there. So, okay, that's something we might have to watch out for. I have to think about that. But it seems... Okay, I think I figured out what's going on. The metric is staying active when I reset the mission, and it shouldn't be doing that. The metric, when I reset the mission back, when I restart the mission, it should stop listening to the player until I hit that pink circle again. That's what's supposed to happen, and it's not happening. It's still listening. And that's not good. That's not good. So let me just carefully look at, because that's the thing is, if I've coded this correctly, it should mean that it's just one of these little things I have to change. And I know there's a lot of variables here, but it just means I have to change one of them. Hopefully, it just means I have to change one of them and it'll fix it. On mission, set active on mission loaded, unloaded, started, ended, complete. Include. Okay, well let's maybe change. Okay, no, actually no, I think I know what it is. I need to change this from include loaded missions to include owner mission. I think that's what I have to do, and it might work. Let's try it. Let's try it. So what should happen is it shouldn't do anything now. When I touch this, it should do something, and when I hit restart, it should. Okay, it still doesn't. It still doesn't work. Because it should be, okay, I do need to, I need to look at something. Okay, maybe it's, because there is something I'm doing here. Maybe it's messing this up. Bind on deactivated? False. Okay, well, it's this, because I know I added this. It's got to be the way I've set this up. Something isn't right. Bind on activate, on deactivate. It's something to do with this. I want to add... I just want to add a print here, just to make sure it actually is unbinding, because I think that the problem is that it isn't unbinding. Oh no, or is it? Hold on. Oh, no, it looks like I'm stuck. Okay, it's printing false, so it is unbinding. But if I hit retry, why is it still, that should not be happening. Set bind on activate. Bind on deactivate. Is it actually? Oh, let me just think. Let me think for a sec. Is it? Maybe it's this. Could be this. Because okay, so what I'm essentially trying to make sure of is that it's listening and unlistening when it's supposed to. Because what's supposed to happen is when the mission is reset, it's supposed to stop listening for the player stuff, which it isn't doing. Or is it? Okay, now it's working. Okay, what did I do? Okay, now I don't know what I did, but it's working now for some reason. It's classic programmer mode. Okay, well, something I did. I don't know what I did. I literally. I don't understand why it's working, but if... Oh, wait. Okay, so when I jump into that circle, that causes a problem, so I'm gonna have to, like, be careful about that. Okay, this is so weird. When I have the print strings plugged in, it works. But when I don't have them plugged in, it doesn't work. And I don't know, that, like, does that make sense to you guys? I don't know. Doesn't make sense to me. That is, dude, that is actually the most obscure thing I've come across so far. For real. So let's unplug that one. Oh, thanks so much, As Healus, for... I have no idea what currency that is. I'm sorry. What current... Can someone help me out here? It's 22 in something. I don't know what... I've never seen that currency sign before. But thanks so much. I appreciate it. Very nice. Didn't you change one thing on bind? Maybe. I'll go check on that. Oh, okay. Okay, wait, okay. This is weird. Okay, this is weird. It seems to work. I need to, on both of these, it needs to have this print string in for it to, like, I'm sorry, but that's crazy. That is the weirdest... Like, why? I don't get it, man. Why on earth would that make it work? Because now it's working the way it's supposed to work. And then when I hit that, yeah. And then when I reset the mission, it should not do that. That is, like, what on it? Like, honestly, man, what's... Does, like, if I get rid of those prints, it no longer, like, it doesn't work. Isn't that just nuts? Isn't that crazy? I don't even begin to explain why. I don't know. I don't know, man. I ain't got no clue. I got no idea. I mean, like, I just can't, like, I'm, like, my brain's just gonna break down right now. I literally cannot like, what on earth is going on? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna try something else. What if I don't want to do it this way, but what if I did this? Instead of using a sequence node, I'm gonna just plug all these in manually. What if? I don't know. Yeah, yeah, dude, okay, that has been literally... Oh, okay, well now it's not now it's really not working. Oh, okay, alrighty, okay. I think I have a game theory. I might have a game theory here, guys. I think what I need to do is... I think it's just out of order. I think this needs to happen first, and then that needs to happen. Which sounds crazy, but... Yeah, okay. But yeah, you're probably, for those that are wondering, like, where devlogs haven't been here in a while, what's going on? Is the game still happening? I mean, I know some people are probably a bit anxious to know what's going on. I swear, like most days, it's just stuff like this. Like, honestly, this has just been my life. It's just like, why on earth does this work, and why on earth does this not work? And it's just me trying to figure out, like, this is somehow working and it shouldn't be, or this is not working and it should be. It's literally just been that non-stop. Literally me, for real. That's basically been it. But it's gonna amount to something. It's gonna pay off. It just won't pay off right now, but it will pay off. Okay, it's starting to pay off. Hell, a lot of this works for the most part. But once you see the other stuff we've been cooking, I guarantee you all of this monotonous stuff is gonna pay off and it'll make sense and you'll be like, wow, Ray, that's great. Thanks so much for spending that time. I guarantee you. It's just a bit hard to see right now, okay? Because it's game development, it's the long-term strategy, okay? Okay, now this is really not working. All right. Well, I kind of half fixed it there. Oh, no. Okay, wait. Okay, wait. I think, okay. So what I need, because it's the return, okay, that returner needs to be there. This might work, maybe. Don't know if it will. Let's try this. Oh. Okay, wait, did I get it working? Is it working now? Oh, yes, okay, it works now. All right. Let's just do a bit of cleanup, and then I'll show you what that all was supposed to mean. Oh, sorry, yeah, I didn't see a message there. As suggest resources on learning blueprints. Oh, Matt Wadstein. Look him up. He's got good stuff. I can't really think of anything better, honestly. I know that it's like, I think his video. Okay, the thing about his videos, they're good. But they basically just are a verbal version of the documentation. But he does do a bit of a better job at explaining the documentation than the documentation. And it isn't even the fact that he's explaining it, it's just because he shows you an example. I think that's a big help. I think that's one of the reasons his stuff's good, is because he'll like read the docs verbatim. He'll literally, I swear, I think what he does, he just goes through the docs for every node and then just makes a video about each thing. I'm pretty sure that's what he does. But the thing that makes his good is that he shows you a practical example of how to use a node. Or like, okay, if you want to use a for loop, this is in context. Because for me, I have to see it in context to understand it. If you try and explain it theoretically to me, I'm not going to get it. So I don't know if I'm just weird or if that's how everyone is, but if you're like me and you need something shown to you to get it, then Matt Wadstein is your guy. Now, of course, I actually had a problem with this recently, today even, because there's another thing I'm working on with this whole system that's actually been a bit of a headache, and I'll show you what that is in a bit. But I was trying to look up a tutorial, and I couldn't find anything for what I wanted, because there is a ceiling with tutorials. Now, this might not be where you are yet, but at some point, you will face a wall, because you will be so deep into your game. You'll have things that you've made that are specific to your game, and whatever thing you want to do, if you want to add some new thing, the thing you're going to have to deal with is that it's more than likely that whatever new thing you're going to have to add, like let's say you wanted to do what I'm doing here, you wanted to add a thing that just counts the amount of times you've landed, but it has to work within this existing framework that you've built. What that will do is it'll kind of box you in. Which means that if you're trying to find a tutorial, like let's say like this, if I wanted to look up how to keep track of when the character lands, and if I found a tutorial, I guarantee you if I followed that tutorial, it wouldn't work for my game. Because it won't work in this whole system I've done, because no tutorial is going to show you how to make it in my system, because I'm the only one that has this system. And you're going to have a similar kind of thing going, like not this exact system, but you know what I mean. You're going to have your own stuff that you use, your own things it has to work with. Your game's going to have its own system it has to interact with, and you got to make sure it all goes and doesn't interfere. So it's very likely that when you get to that stage, finding a tutorial, you're going to have to do a lot of work to figure out how it applies to your game, because no one else will be able to explain that to you. And that's the time-consuming bit with tutorials. When you're beginning, it's totally fine because you've got nothing. You've got a blank slate and you can basically follow any tutorial. But the minute you start doing stuff that relies on your own systems, you're going to find that tutorials become a lot less helpful over time. And, you know, they're a good jumping off point, but you end up in this space where you actually kind of have to figure out most of it. And that's where it can get, don't get discouraged. Like, I don't know what stage you're at with your project, but if that happens, don't get discouraged like that. I think that happens to everyone. It happens to me. I'm assuming it happens to everyone because it kind of has to. If you make a game that has any kind of systems, you kind of have to accept that that will happen. But I think that's kind of like one of the that's kind of like a rite of passage, I think, in a way. Like if your entire game can just be made from following a tutorial, then I think it's kind of too easy, you know? Like you should be able to have it, because that way anyone could make it. So you want to have a point where you follow a tutorial, you get a kicking off point, but you can adapt it into your own thing, and then that way no one can really do and copy it exactly, because it'll like this thing I'm showing you right now. I guarantee you none of you are going to find this helpful. Like this, the way I've built this. I can explain it all to you, but honestly, none of you are going to need something like this because you're not making my game. Like you guys will have your own solutions, or your project might have different requirements. Like it all depends on the actual game. And this is kind of like that ceiling, is that when you get to things that depend specifically on your project. So what point was I making? I was making a point with that. Yeah, basically, what the thing I was trying to do today, if I looked up the tutorial, it didn't fit in with all this, and it's a bit annoying. But that's how the cookie crumbles, right? Like that's what happens. And yeah, so don't get discouraged when that happens. But if you have a complete blank slate and you're trying to do things that are pretty general, Matt Weinstein, good stuff. But if you're trying to get that stuff working in things you've already got, be prepared to put in a bit of extra. Like that's at the stage where like no blueprint resource in the world would be able to help, because it's just specific to you. You're gonna have to like ask someone, and that's also another whole thing, because you gotta figure out how to ask questions. That's another. That's kind of another avenue, but that's a bit too deep. I think. I don't think you need me to go into that, but that's like a whole other thing. I mean. There was something I saw recently. There was some video I came across about Stack Overflow. I think it's called. I don't know if it's called Stack Exchange or Stack or something. One of those Stack websites. And there was some video talking about the culture of it. And apparently, it's gotten really bad because there's like the moderation team or something are like just very hostile, and people are getting banned for asking questions or something. And I brought this up for a reason. I'm trying to remember, because I'm trying to program at the same time. But I did bring this up for a reason. It's because I watched through that, and people used to ask me questions all the time when I had my Discord, right? And I think there's like a point as well where when you get that deep and you start like getting beyond what tutorials show you, and you need help on specific things, it does help to know how to ask a question, I will say. And that, I don't know exactly what the rules are, because every question, it depends on the question, but I think it's usually a good idea to try and be as specific as possible, I've found. And to have that attitude of like that no one owes you help, but to be thankful for it. I think that's the two things I've kind of picked up on through my time trying to ask for like help on things. But anyway, that's kind of getting into a bit of a different territory there. But if it's just tutorials, that kind of resource, just stuff that already exists, yeah, I'd say Matt Weinstein's pretty good. Oh, cool. Well, yeah, that's why I like Weinstein, is because he has all of it. I mean, I don't know about all of it, but every video I've seen from him has been about blueprints, and I've looked at his stuff quite a lot. In fact, bridging those two topics I just brought up together, I think he is on the Unreal Slackers. I think he's on the Unreal Slackers Discord. I don't I've seen people ask him questions there before, but that was a while. Like, I haven't been part of that Discord in a while, so I don't know if he's still there. But if he is, and if he's open to questions, then that's a great resource too. If he's down for that. I mean, don't bother him. Like, if he doesn't want to be bothered, don't bother him, of course. But if he's on there inviting that kind of thing, I'd say don't like use that if he's making himself available. But yeah, I used to kind of do that stuff, but I'm not the kind of, I don't have the temperament of Matt Weinstein. Those kinds of guys are you need to be like a particular kind of person to be like Matt Weinstein, I think, in the sense that like having the patience to be that helpful at the expense of, because for me, while I'd like to do that, I'm just too busy. Like, I can't be on Discord every day answering like, oh, I have this specific thing with my code. Like, I just don't have time for that. So I can't be that person. But Weinstein can, from the looks of it. So cherish those people. Treat them nice. Okay, I think, what was I just, I was just on autopilot there, cleaning up nodes. I think it's all cleaned up. Okay, it looks cleaned up to me. Now that that's all cleaned, oh, wait a minute. Can I make that look better? I think I can make that look better. Because I know, okay, I want to show you guys something I learned recently. And this is a bit of a, doesn't seem important, but this is really cool. So here's a little, this is probably obvious for most of you, but I didn't know this till recently. You see this? You see when I have this function and it has inputs and you have to drag it to this parent? Looks kind of spaghetti, right? Looks kind of spaghetti. You know what I learned recently? What you can actually do is you can actually just call these direct, like just in the node, like that, and that is that input. It's the same thing. It's just on its own. So I'm gonna do that because it looks better. And this has actually helped because there's bigger functions I have where you have to like drag these around in these old graphs. I don't have to do that anymore because I realized that you can actually just like reference them here, which is really cool. So I didn't know that for a long time, and if you don't know that, now you do. And if you did know that, then well, that's great then. That's fantastic. You're a genius. So I can just get all these instead of having to drag them all across, because I really hate, like, this is just a personal thing. I really hate looking at this stuff, like those lines. I don't like it. It triggers me, and it's like no, can't have it. It's got to look better. So why not make it look better by doing this? Because watch this. All I have to do now is just bang. Got him. And now this will look a little tidier, which is good. You want things to look tidy because you will thank yourself. And then I could just get rid of those big noodles on my code. And look how much, like, that just looks better. Like, objectively, it looks better. So, hell yeah. And that's when people ask me, how do you stay motivated? It's when that stuff happens. When I get a huge, like, hit of dopamine from cleaning up little spaghetti noodles like that. That's another thing. That's another little bit that I get very satisfied from when I make it tidy. All right, so I think now we can get out of the blueprint editor now. I think let's just test it. It should work flawlessly now. So just keep in mind, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I'm looking for, because you'll be able to see this all now. This will all make sense now. So at the moment, let's go back. At the moment, the mission is inactive. The mission is unloaded. There is no mission loaded. It's just Gabby. When I touch this middle box, the mission is now loaded. And when the mission is loaded, the metrics will spawn on the screen, but they should be disabled and they don't do anything. So if I jump, it won't track anything. The stopwatch won't do anything. If I go and die and respawn, they should hide and show themselves, and they should still be turned off, which they are, which is great. But if I go and touch this, they should now activate. Okay. The only problem here is that I jumped and landed right on top of that. And that's one thing we can't do. So I'll write that down, because I won't solve that right now, but I'll just make a note of it. First bug is can't jump on start point, or no. Jumping on start point breaks the mission. And I know exactly why. Don't worry about that yet. We'll get to that. But let's test everything else. So if I move away from that and then jump, there we go. It increments the mission. If I retry, it should still it shouldn't do anything now. The mission is loaded, but it is not active. Okay, it's acting like it should, and now when I touch that, the mission is now active. Okay, it looks like it's working perfectly, except for this one problem, and I know exactly why that's happening, and I'll tell you exactly why. The reason why we can't jump on that pink circle, like watch this, if I go and jump on it, you know what's happening there? What's happening is, when I'm landing on the floor, the jump counter increments. It goes up, and then the mission ends. And when the mission ends, the pink circle, because these are part of the checkpoint base class, and they're configured to re-enable themselves when the mission is disabled. And what's happening is that thing is re-enabling itself the minute, like the frame after I touch the floor and end the mission, that re-enables, and then I touch it, and then it reactivates the mission again while the mission is ended, which is why I'm stuck. I can't move because it's supposed to show the game over screen, but because I touched that, it's now started, it's gone to the mission active state, and it's set the watch, but it hasn't set the landed thing. So you're not ever supposed to reach this state. So there might be a way to solve this, and that is if I change this, because here's where the event dispatchers come in handy, right? If I go into the class of this thing, there should be a tick box here that I've set up already called load collected on mission ended. We want to turn that off. And that's it. I think that should solve it. Now, this isn't technically solving that state. It's just making it so that that state never occurs, which I guess is a good enough solution for the moment. So now what should happen is if I jump and land, that thing should not re-enable itself. And now we've solved, now that state will never happen. Cool. Okay, now you might be saying, well, Ray, why do you have this loaded state anyway? Why is it that why do you have it so that you can move, like, why doesn't the mission just start automatically? Like, why do you have this? There's a reason I do. And that's because what I want to happen is when you start the mission, I want to give players a chance to kind of get their bearings. So and I just had an idea on how to do this better. Because here's what we'll do, all right? Here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna open a scene. Oh, sorry, we're gonna open the levels because I want to show you. I have to edit the geometry a bit to demonstrate this, but I'm gonna you'll see, this will make sense in a moment. Okay, this will make sense in a moment. I just gotta open this. I need to make a cylinder, and that you're going, Ray, what are you doing? And watch this. Let me cook. Let me cook. I'm cooking something. So here's what's gonna happen. Actually, no, I don't. I want a super grid cylinder. Yeah, this is the one I want. I want that nice grid, the white grid, to blend in. There we go. I think that's the right, hopefully that's the right material. But what I'm gonna do, and this will make sense. Trust me. This will all make sense. I'm gonna scale this to, let's make it. Yeah, let's make it 5, or maybe 2. 2 should be fine. And we'll move it back. We'll move it there, and we'll move this back here. You might see where this is going. And then I need to get the mission. We'll move that up. And we'll change the spawn location so that it spawns on top of that cylinder. So I need to go to the mission component. There should be a section called spawning. And then I need to paste the location. Oh, why is that not working? Hold on. Copy. Paste. There we go. All right. So you might see where this is going. But if not, I'll show you what I mean. I think that's actually, yeah, I think that's it. I just want to make sure that this is on the right scene, because this is going to load in with the mission. So I'll move this to geometry. Wherever that is. There should be a folder called meshes. There we go. All right, so here's what's going to happen now. Let's save everything. And I think I'll do one more thing. I just got to check one thing. Okay, I think that's yeah. Okay, everything's good. Now, watch this. Here's why. So if I go and touch the mission now, it'll now put me on this. And for some reason, I don't know where, well, the start line has vanished. I don't know where it is. Okay, well, there is a problem. Well, basically what I was hoping to show is that you got a bit of room to move around, but if you move off from this, then the counter will go up. But it seems the start line is vanished for some reason. Which is weird. I don't know why that is. Unless... Okay, no, it's part of it. Okay, well, it's there. It just seems to... It's like vanished. Like it... maybe if I move it up, what'll happen? Oh... okay, this is gonna be a bit tricky. This is gonna be a little tricky, okay? Because I'm spawning right onto it. Oh, so it's not, yeah. It's like colliding instantly, and it shouldn't. It's skipping over this. Yeah, that's why. Okay, so. Okay. I think what I have to do. I don't want to do this. But this will not. This what I was trying to show will not work. What? Okay. Well, let's try something. Let's just try something else. This is a bit of a compromise, but I just wanted to demonstrate a point, and I'll try and figure out a better way to do this later. But the idea is, oh, that wasn't supposed to happen. Okay, I need to move. I need to make this bigger. I was trying to. I don't know if this. You'll see what I'm trying to do. Because what I was wanting to do, and it's not quite working the way I thought it would, but what I'm trying to do is when you start one of these missions, you start out on one of these, and when you leave this zone, it should activate the mission. Problem is that it kind of doesn't work that way at the moment. I need to make a new kind of thing. Actually, no, now that I think of it, I think I might have a solution. What I need to make, because I want it so that when you jump off this starting point, it then starts. Because what I want, the reason I wanted this whole, because I want this state where you're just kind of calm before the storm, right? Like you start the mission and it doesn't start immediately. You get a chance to assess your surroundings and figure out how you want to approach it. That's why I want this. That's what I was trying to explain, and I'm finding a few bugs with it because of the way this is done. But if I can get this to work the way I want you to be able to start, and the mission is inactive, and then when you jump off this, then the mission activates. And if you jump off, and then the mission's active, and then you land, then it's game over. But if you stay on this, then you're safe. That's what I want. And the reason I want that, yeah, it's just to give you like a lay of the land so that you can actually look around before you go about the mission. Because as a player, I would want that. Because it sounds like a sensible thing to have. Because it gives you like a ready... it gives you time to prepare. And I think that's a good idea. I don't know, some intuitive part of me thinks that that's a good idea. Because if it started instantly and then you died because you jumped, you're like, oh, why did I die? Like, it's a bit sudden, right? But in this, it gives you a chance to kind of go, all right, well, I'm in this mode now. I need to focus on where I'm going to jump because I have to be very careful. So when I jump off, I have to be, because you do have to be careful. You have to be very careful where you decide to jump, because if you jump and you hit the ground, it's game over. So that's why I want this. This is a really more of a game design decision. But to get okay, this will be where we could end it, is if I can get this to work. Because what this needs to do is this needs to function, and I might actually be able to do this. Because what this needs to do is that this checkpoint, instead of, it needs to just activate slightly differently. And I might be able to, let's just see. I don't know how complicated this will be, but the idea is, and I've just spit on my screen. I gotta, I like keeping my screens tidy. If you look at my screens during the day, they are immaculate. But because I'm talking a lot, I get a lot of saliva that just goes flying. But what I want to do, here we go. I think. Yes, so this, I want to add a bit of functionality to these checkpoints, because the way that these all derive from this base class, progress points, and the way these are configured is, when you begin overlap, if you're the character, it will do something. What I want to do is, when you end overlap, it does something instead. So let's add that in. So all we need to do is basically copy all of this, but we need to trigger this at a different point. We basically event on end. Oh wait, I gotta get the. There's a specific thing you have to. Oh no, you can just type that in actually. Event and overlap. There we go. And we will. I just need a boolean. We'll make some booleans. B collect on begin overlap. And we will make this editable, and we will set the tooltip to whether to set collected when actor begin overlap. And then we'll copy and paste this on end overlap. And we'll change this to when actor end overlap for the tooltip. And you might see where this is going. Cool, and then what we just need to add that in here, and we'll set this as the default. Because we just added new functionality to the checkpoint. Because this will also apply to the finish line and the checkpoints and the starting point, because it's all inherited. So we can actually we might be able to do some cool stuff with this later, but for now, we'll just get this. But yeah. Oh wait, why is that not gonna work? Hold up. Wait a minute. Oh, okay, yeah, okay, that does need to be. All right, so then what we do is that we just change this to be this one. And I'll move this up next to this. Have it all nice and tidy. And there we go. All right, now this will make sense. This will make sense. What I will do though is set, just to preserve the functionality of my existing things, I will set one of these to true by default. The begin overlap. I'll set that to true by default. But then for this one, I will set the other one to true. And you might say, well, Ray, use an enum, but you have to then go and make an enum asset, which I'd rather not do right now. I also, yeah, oh no, there's one more thing I need to do. And it seems to be having some errors, so we'll have a look at those in a minute. But I also need to, because you'll notice that when I run, I'll still be running when I get teleported. So I want to stop my movement when the mission starts, which I can do because I have that set up already. So what I need to do then, to get that to do what I want, I have to go to the mission and then scroll down to mission. Actually, I might just do this on the blueprint itself. I'll go to the mission component. I'll go to input, I think. No, that's not it. It's the other. It's further down. Here we go. Input. We'll go set input on load. Oh no, sorry, we don't want that. We just want stop movement on load, and then stop movement on unload. So now, when the mission loads, it should stop. It'll kill my in momentum, so that I don't fall off the podium instantly. Okay, that seems to still not work exactly right. But now, actually, wait a minute. Okay, I think this is actually working. Watch this. So while I'm on this thing, it's fine, but the minute I jump off, that's... Yeah, there we go, that's what I wanted. There we go. Hell yeah. Ha 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 ha. I just need to... oh, okay, then it seems... I don't know what's going on there. I wonder what's happening. It seems to be accessed... Okay, we need to put an is valid somewhere. It's not... Yeah, so what we need... I think all we need to do is do this. Or maybe do a bit smart. I don't know if this will work. We'll try it. Just so we don't get that error. Let's try it now. Okay, still some errors. Okay, then we'll try I don't because I know that there's a difference between this and the other one, and I know that there's some difference. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know that sometimes one of them works, sometimes one of them doesn't. So we'll try the other one. Hopefully that still works. Okay, that worked. Great, no errors. There we go. All right, cool. Let's just clean that up a little because it is a bit messy. And yeah. So yeah, because I wanted to have it like that, where you kind of wait a bit before the mission starts, you get a chance to survey the landscape, then the minute you decide, because you decide when it starts, and I think that's important for this mission type, that you, the player, decide when the mission actually activates, and instead of it counting down for you automatically. That's the vibe. That's kind of what I feel should happen. So I should be able to like close all this now and save everything. And we'll have a bit of fun. So let's test it out. Oh, and there was one thing I forgot to do. I need to change this to be movable, because if I don't, it's going to ask me to bake it, and I don't want to bake the lighting for it because it only exists in one mission. So that's the cool thing about level streaming, is that you can actually change, you can modify the level geometry based on the mission. Because that thing isn't there, but when I activate the mission, now it is there. So that's pretty cool. So now it'll, I can only land once. The minute I jump off this thing. I can't believe this actually works now, which is really cool. So let's go. Oh. So I gotta like hug the walls. There we go. So I wonder if what I can get away with doing. I wonder if grinding, okay, I can grind, which actually is pretty fair. I'd say we should be allowed to grind. I could make it that you can't. I could make that count, but I won't, because I think it's generous to let you grind. So you can use grind as long as you don't make contact with the ground. That's the main thing. Because that is death. Actually, I wonder what happens if I die. Like if I try and navigate to like the fans without touching the ground somehow, and if okay, almost. I think I can get into the blades without touching the floor. I just got to be real careful, or even better, I'll try getting to the, now I know these are glitched out right now. Okay, so what'll happen is, so I forgot I set this up. But what will happen is if you are in a mission and if you die, if you haven't touched a checkpoint yet, it'll actually just reset the whole mission back, which is kind of neat actually. I forgot that I did that. So if I die, it actually just sets me back and restarts the mission again. But if I have a checkpoint collected, which I just flew over that checkpoint. I didn't touch the floor. I just flew into the trigger volume and then got out. But if I did this and then I touched okay, so then I die because I'm touching the ground when I respawn. I guess that's, I wonder, do I want that or do I not want that? I'm not sure because I can't really think of a way around that. Unless, would adding a big trigger in front of the start be easier? Well, that's basically what I've done, except this works with everything else I've got, the rest of the framework, because this checkpoint is a trigger. The only difference is, well, yeah, the reason you wouldn't just chuck a trigger in there is because this one on this blueprint, and this is why I tend to, this is why I don't find advice online quite helpful, is because what you're not seeing is looks just like a trigger, but it's more than that. Because I had to set the stuff up, right? These events. If you made a trigger in the scene, which I'm assuming is what you're saying, if you were to just add a trigger volume to the scene, you could set that trigger up to do this, but you'd have to go into the level blueprint and do that. And I don't like using the level blueprint because it isn't scalable, because it only exists in that level. But the advantage of setting it up as part of the checkpoint class is that this will work anywhere. I don't have to program it. Like, I don't have to, if I wanted to do this in another level, because with what you're suggesting, what I would have to do, if I wanted to do this in another level, I would have to then make another trigger volume for each level, and then for each one go into the level blueprint and configure it to activate the mission. And that's just a lot of unnecessary work. Like, that's like pain. You don't want that, because it's a lot of manual hard coding. And you don't want that. What you do want is for it to just work, which is exactly what this does now. Because all I have to do is drag one of these in, which I've already coded. I then have to just tick on a checkbox and it works. And I don't have to like code anything. Like, this little addition here might be the last thing I ever add to this for shipping. Like, I might be completely done with this now. And I don't have to ever touch the level blueprint. And I think if you've got like a lot of levels, you might be able to appreciate how nice that is, not having to do that. So that's why I tend to be very selective when using just like naked trigger volumes. Like, and what I mean by that is just like adding one of these, because these, like, to get this to do stuff, you have to hard code it in the level blueprint. And I want to not do that because it's just kind of lame. So I do it this way instead, because this is scalable. I think that's the right word I'm looking for. Scalable. Well, it's in the sense that these are just modular, self-contained pieces that work. You don't have to code stuff, and I like having not to do that, because as you can probably tell, I'm not really too fond of having to open the blueprint editor every time I want to make a new mission. Like, what this should do is basically this should work anywhere. You know what? Let's, just to end things off, let's make this work in another level, just to demonstrate my point. Because this is actually going to be really fun. Let's open up the interchange map. I haven't touched this map in a long time. Just as an example, because we might get some really fun little bits out of this. Okay, so let's go to now. Actually, I hope this works. I might need to do a bit of setup because it's been a while since I've opened the interchange. And there's been a lot of back-end work, so it might, because I'll try. Okay, we'll get to it when we get to it. I'll show you what I mean. I just gotta remember where it is. I can't for the life of me remember. It's probably staring me right in the face, but I can't find where is... Oh, here it is. Oh, it's buried in here now. So it's been a long time since I've opened this map. Actually, before I go ahead, I'm just going to push my changes to source control. Let me just push to source first, and then we'll go and do this. Flexible. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Thanks, Rowan. That's exactly what I meant. It's more flexible. Less setup work. And it's modular, flexible, and I like those things, okay? I like when things are flexible. So I'm just gonna push all of that. That should upload in a, well, it's Australian internet, so if my stream lags, that's why. Okay, it's pushed. Great, now we can go wild. Now, this is where things, because this is unrelated to what I've just done. And I guess I could tick all these off now. So we could probably close this. We don't need this open anymore. Now this what I'm about to demonstrate is this kind of leads into some of the other stuff that's been happening. So you'll notice that when I start this level, the character doesn't spawn. So this is where it gets this is where things get kind of weird, because one of the many things we've been up to lately is that we have a whole new loading system now, which I haven't mentioned because it's kind of like a thing that you'd expect in a game, but it was actually a bit of work to set up. But what that basically means is there's like actual loading screens now that are actually done properly. Like they're not these band-aided together ones that we used to have. But the problem is the way I've done it is the characters will now not spawn. I have to set up a certain thing first. So what I will do, let me just check something. I want to see what's actually in this persistent level. Okay, it looks like it's empty. So what I will do is, it's just a nav mesh, because I need to look at the way that my example, because I haven't ported all of these over yet. And to show you what I mean, you might be able to actually see this in action right now. I might have this merged. But actually, I don't know if you guys noticed that actually. If I go restart level, you'll notice that there's an actual loading thing with an actual progress bar. So that's new. And then if I exit, there's an actual, we actually have a loading bar now. And you might say, well, every game has a loading bar, Ray, but you don't understand, okay? Unreal does not give you this. You have to, actually put in work to get an actual loading bar. So we got some, Unreal plugin from the marketplace and modified it a bunch. And now we've got this. And this is this is one of the many things we've been up to lately. But we've got this whole new main menu now. And it loads smoothly in and out. It has that fade to black that you saw. It's very cool. And if I wanted to go back to my test level, it's right here. The problem is because of the way this loading system works, none of the other levels have been set up to work with it yet, except for this one. So then I don't know, it shows the wrong, it should show the test environment picture. I haven't got that bit set up yet. So the little thing I'm gonna have to do right now, because I've been putting this off, I have to do this anyway. One thing I have to do is set up the interchange to actually load the character correctly. So what we will do, it should take like 10 minutes, I think, because I just gotta remember how this works. Because there's an actor that I have to put in the scene, and there's a few little assets I have to set up, and then it should work. Yeah, look, it took me a while to settle on that system, but yeah, it's a bit of a pain, guys. I won't lie. People think it's like easy because every game has one, but it's like it's not. At least with Unreal, I don't know, man. It's just it should really come with the engine, but it doesn't. Now I need. There's a specific actor that I need. Here we go. I'm just gonna copy and paste this into the interchange. And I need to paste that in. And then I need to set up a certain asset as well. So give me a moment. So this is using a plugin on the Unreal Marketplace called LSS, I think, or it's an acronym for loading screen system. It's quite flexible. And there's a bit of setup, but once you set it up, it should work. So I just need to find this. So I need to copy both of these. Actually, I can just paste these here probably. So I'm going to rename these to interchange. And you have to set these up. Because you can actually change what the loading screen looks like for each one. Like, it's actually very powerful. But we need to... This is the bit we need to mainly set up. So I got to type in the map names. And I know it's a bit of setup, but this... I've had to do... I've been putting this off, so I should probably get around to it. I just got to check what the actual levels are called. So it's interchange, blockout, gameplay, blockout. So it's... Okay, so it's interchange... I just got to copy all these in. And there might be a bit extra. Let me just read this. So there's... Actually, what is this? I actually don't know what this is. Oh, this is like the old lighting I used to have. Okay, well, I don't want that. I want... What do I want? Geo lighting. Okay, I instead of that, I want the whatever the other one. Yeah, I want this one. This is the good lighting. Because yeah, all of that is all in its separate. It's all separate stuff. And then I need to add something to this, and I'm trying to remember what it is. It'll come to me. And I think I also need to add the missions too to this. Or no, I don't think I do actually. No, I think it should be fine. Yeah. So I think that's it. And then there's the other thing. This is just the loadings. Okay, so that I don't need to worry about that right now. But what I do need to do is then go into here and go I gotta drag. I gotta like, can I drag those? Okay, I can drag those. So there's, yeah, okay. So then what I have to do, there's one more. There's a bit more still. Now, hopefully, because I do have missions set up in this, but they might not work because I've refactored everything since I last touched this. But I need to open. I've got to go back to my example map because there's a thing you got to add to the there's something you have to add to the list of levels. You got to add the loading screen to it, I think. So I just want to just check on that. So if I go to levels, yeah, so we want map feline loading screen. We got to add that. And I think that's it. So if I go interchange block thing, and then I have to go loading levels. So I got to add the feline loading screen. I got to add that here. So now what should happen, it should work now. There we go. Now Gabby spawns in. There we go. Now these both will, oh, okay. Well, these, actually work a little bit more than I was expecting, but the collectibles will spawn in, but the mission will not activate for the collectathon because I've refactored it all. So that we won't worry about that now because that's stuff I have to do later. But we will get just the new mission type. We'll get that in here. So we'll find a cool place. Let's find a cool place in here to start the mission. I'm trying to find where would be a nice cool place. I think over here might be cool. Yeah. I'd say right here. So let's go levels. We'll make a new. I'll tell you what. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go to the Feline. I need to open it in the folder. So I'm gonna go maps example, and I'm just gonna copy the map from the other mission, and then we'll go to the interchange, paste. So we'll call this interchange lockout gameplay mission lava 01. Yeah, I'm still here. So what have you missed? Luckily, what I'm about to show will show you exactly what. So this is like the climax. You've come right for the climax. So okay, so what I need to do is I gotta add that thing I just did. Where did it just go? Oh, here we go. So we're gonna add that in here. I then just gotta make sure. I've gotta make sure of something. Because this is all stuff from the old, this is from the mission I copied. So we'll get rid of those checkpoints. We just need those two and this. So now I'll go back. So these should exist in this, in the scene somewhere. I just gotta find where. Okay, here it is. All right, so it's put it in this weird spot because we've copied this from here. But I want to move this. This is gonna be our starting podium. I might be able to. Maybe I can make my own like custom model for this thing that I can use everywhere. But we'll get to that later. But yeah, so here's this is where it gets cool. Okay, so let's turn off the other missions so I don't get. Because there's a few missions turned on right now. Let's turn that off, And I'm gonna have to create a trigger as well, actually. So I'll make sure I do that too. We're gonna have to copy these. So I'll set that up now. We need to go to, where is it? Missions, there we go. So I'll need to turn that on. We'll copy this volume. Oh, come on, yep. I'll just move that over. Just so I'm just over here. And I'll set this, because this then has a name as well. We'll call this mission lava 01. And now this should, and I'll set that to load like automatic. So when we start the level, it should load this follows lava type, just so that it's quicker for us to test out. And then there should be a start line somewhere. Okay, so I'll copy the location of that and paste the location of that. There we go. Might copy the rotation. So we can start you off here. But then I need the mission itself to copy I need to set the spawn location. So this is what this is showing now. This is what it's going to look like for me later when I'm making mission content. And there's a new level I've been working on that is going to need a lot of this. My patrons will know which one I'm talking about. And this is like where the fun begins, right? Because I don't have to like type new code. I can just set mission content up really easy like this. So I need to then go to the mission. I then have to scroll down to results. Oh no, sorry. Which one is it? It's like the spawning. This should be oh, here we go. Spawning. I then paste that And I remember I got to rotate that to 80 degrees. Mission unload spawn. We'll leave that. I think we can leave that one alone. And we need to create a finish line. So what we might do, yeah, hold on. We'll, let me just think. Yeah, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll make a copy of this for the end. Oh wait, hold on. I gotta make sure I'm in the right level. I'm not, I'm in the persistent level. I need to be in the mission level. There we go. So then I can copy and paste that. Can I rename that? There we go. So let's move, because you have to land on this. We'll move this to some really fun, where's a fun place that would be to end the mission? Maybe over here. Oh, what if I put it under? Oh, that would be so mean. But let's try it. I don't know. It's like having it the finish under here. That would be funny, I think. We'll make it a bit bigger though. We'll make it generous. But that's where you got to finish. And we'll get the there should be a finish. Where's the goal? The goal should be here. There we go. So let's copy that. There we are, and we'll make this big too. We'll make it very generous. Now I've just noticed that because this is a sphere collider, it might actually be a bit tricky with scaling it, but let's just see what happens. So I think that actually might be it. I think that's all we need. Oh, I don't want that. So let's save this. I think we actually might just have it because that's all we kind of need. We don't even need the collector because it doesn't rank you on collectibles in this one. So we just need to start an endpoint and that rule where you can't touch the floor, except it is not spawning me for some reason. Let's try that again. Oh, that's weird. Okay, it's not spawn. It's not. What is going on? There's some errors. Oh no, okay. See, this is level blueprint stuff. You don't want this. This is the stuff you don't want. So I can get rid of all of this now, I think. Yeah. So okay, before I delete this, this was the loading screen system before I revamped it, okay? Like, this is how it looked. This is on the level blueprint. So what I used to have to do is I had to go to the level blueprint and tell it to spawn the loading screen widget and then delay itself and then load in all of the streams, or like, this is on the level. So every time I made a new level, I had to set this up. And now I have another system that does all this. So we can go bye-bye to all of that. Oh, that felt good. That felt good to just get rid of all that. Oh, it's brilliant. Because, yeah, it used to manually hard set your spawn on the level blueprint, which was just terrible. So now... Oh, why is it spawned to be inside? Oh, wait a minute. No, I know why. I know, it's spawned to be inside that cylinder, so it's clipping in. So I just need to I just got to make sure that the spawn location is set properly, because I think it's too low. So there should be a... Where's the mission? Mission lava. And we will change the spawn... transform. I'll paste this. Yeah, it needed to be a little bit higher. I think that's it. I think that is it. So let's save and go. Oh yeah, boys. Yeah, let's go. All right, so we've got to get to that underneath bit without touching the floor. Can we do it? I actually don't know if this will go as well as I think. Yeah, because look how tight of a okay, no, we can do. I think we can do it. There's a way. Oh, it's working. This is working exactly as it should. So we did. Oh yes, I did it. Hell yeah. See, that's the kind of gameplay we can get now with this. It took ages to set up. It took a lot of trial and error, a lot of bug fixing. But look, how much time did I spend setting that up? Like, after I fixed the loading system, because I'm not going to have to do that later. But that, like, took 10 minutes or 20 minutes. If I had to do that, not with this system, that would take me like an hour to hard code and set it up per level. So it might not sound like a lot, because it's like, oh, it's only an hour. But it's like that or 20 minutes. And if you do that 50 times, it adds up. So, oh, yeah. Okay, something we didn't actually factor in yet, because you might be saying, Ray, what about the rank on the results screen? I didn't even get to that bit yet, but that's a cool little bit there. We'll just configure that as we're here, because we can actually set prerequisites for your rank. Let's do that, because I actually got that working recently. So let's go to, I think it is the mission. And because I added this was way back at the beginning of the stream. So this is remember when I kept saying that this will pay off? This is what I mean, okay? Because watch this. All I have to do to set the rank prerequisite is that I click on the rank metric, which I added at the beginning of the stream, and I didn't touch it yet. I've just got it in there. But all I got to do is scroll down, and there should be a time prerequisites array. So let's say I wanted the S rank to be 15, because I think that took me about 15 seconds to do that. So let's say 15 seconds, just as an example. Let's say the A rank is 30, we'll say 30 seconds, or maybe 20 seconds. The C rank will be, I'm just making up. And the thing is, if people decide, like if I'm playtesting this and people go, oh, the rank is just too hard on this one, all I have to do is go and change this one number and that's it. I don't have to code, I don't have to hard code anything. I just have to change these numbers, and that's all I have to do. And I love, this is what I've been looking forward to, is this stuff. So what would be a good C rank? Let's say 30 seconds. And then no, is it a C? I think so, yeah. No. So that's B, A, no. It's S, A, B, C. Okay, so the C rank prerequisite is going to be, let's say 60, I guess. I'm just kind of dividing pretty equally here. Here's the other cool thing too, by the way, because I did ask my patrons about this, and I said, hey guys, so making this component, how do you want the ranks displayed? And I think a lot of you said you wanted a lettering system, and this is what I have. And the cool thing is I can actually change these letters. So if I wanted it to just go up to A, I can just do that. But I think S sounded cool. I think everyone was like wanting S's. So I've made it like that. So I just have to change these. And I can change these per mission. You can also like change this to be like gold, silver. If you wanted to do, I think I did try that out once. You can make it like that if you want to, but I think everyone seemed to like this lettering system, so I'm gonna leave it like that. And and it's that easy. It is that easy. Okay, it wasn't that easy, because I had to set all that up, which took ages. But now that it's done, it is that easy. So let's try now. Oh, no, I went into the wall. That was my bad. So now it keeps track of our time, and depending on how long we take, it'll rank us, and we have to not touch the floor. That's the condition. it's actually making me a bit frustrated, which is good. Because if I'm feeling an emotion playing this, it means you guys will feel emotions too. And that actually is a big deal. I know that doesn't sound like it's important, but I've been working on this for a while, right? Like, I get desensitized to this. Like, none of this feels that special to me because I work on it every day. But if I'm feeling, if I feel like tense during a mission like I am right now, as the guy that has to look at this every day, then I think that's pretty good, because it means that you guys will feel something as someone, because you guys aren't as desensitized as I am. So my logic is, if I'm feeling this, because you could hear me like making noise, right? Like I was getting visibly angry. Yeah, like that felt really cool. Like I can feel the dopamine. And if I can feel the dopamine, you can feel the dopamine when you play it. So that's the idea. Now, it turns out I'm actually pretty good at that mission, because I did that in 12 seconds and I got the S rank. So let's make it a bit harder. Let's make it a little harder, because that's the thing. Because this is all done this way, if I want to iterate on it, it's super easy. All I have to do is just go in and change stuff. I don't have to, like... you guys get how happy I am that this works this way. I know it took me a while, but this is what it's been all for. This is where it all leads to. And it feels great. So if I wanted to make it a bit harder, I go to the rank prerequisites, and let's change the S rank to 10 seconds. That's all I have to do. Because it turns out it actually is pretty easy to beat that mission. So let's go 10 seconds. And let's make the S let's make that 15. Yeah, let's do that. And if it, yeah, let's try it again. Let's try now. Let's see how I do. Oh. And you got to be careful, because if you touch these walls at a certain angle, it'll count as landing. So you got to be real careful. Okay, I didn't quite get the S rank that time, so I gotta do better. All right, let's try again. Let's see if I can get it under 10 seconds. Now okay, maybe maybe it isn't possible. I don't know. Maybe it isn't. Gabby doesn't go fast enough. 7, 8. Oh, I almost had it. No, you guys saw. I was so close. No, I can do this. I know I can do that. If I can get this thing to work, then I can get the S rank. I can get there in 10 seconds. Oh, I was like it just didn't. Okay, no, No, I'm not gonna make it easier. No, we can do this. I was gonna lower it down so I wouldn't hit the edge, but no, we're gonna go hard mode. We're gonna make this. We can do this on hard. Oh, I keep homing attacking too early. That's why. You guys, oh yeah, by the way, I don't know how many of you know about the homing attack. I haven't talked about that in a devlog yet. So for those that have not seen me since my last devlog, there's been more changes. The combat is completely different now. The homing attack, I was 2 seconds off. The homing attack not only acts as a combat tool now, but it acts as a way to, it's a maneuverability tool as well. You see, I'm using it quite a lot here to smack myself into the wall, which is actually really satisfying. So once I actually get some nice animations, it'll look I've just got temporary animations on them at the moment, but once I actually get some proper stuff going on, which is one of my next priorities, then it'll be good. Oh, it's just the angle. I'm frustrated, but I'm so happy that this works. You guys have no idea. I was so worried that this was all gonna break down, and I'm like, God damn, I don't want to have another stream where everything just breaks. But no, it actually has the desired outcome, which is great. Like, oh my goodness. It's a great feeling. Oh no! I was 76 milliseconds too late. But I think I can do it. I think I can do it. Can you add Yes, yes, I can do that. So yeah, let's do that. Let's change the letter of the S rank. Let's just make it whatever, I don't know, whatever letter you want. What letter did you put? You put V. Okay, I don't know. I don't get that. I don't know what that system is. I've never heard of a V use that letter used. So I don't know. We'll try it. So if I go to, I just got to remember where it is. Here it is. Okay, so we scroll down. Oh no, it's yeah, because it's all component based. I just got to find the right component. It's the rank one. I then change the letter. That's all I do. I just backspace, put that there instead. That's it. That's it. Let's go. Rank. Actually, no. Yeah, let's do that. That's funny. Rank me. Rank meow. Let's do it. Yeah. Okay. I just type in. Let's do it. This is gonna be funny. Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. The meow rank. Actually, I might actually be able to have it play a noise, I think. Let me test that, actually. I think I actually might be able to make it meow. Like, I'm not kidding. I think I actually might be able to do that. Let me just check something. There should be a thing in here called play sound on update. Yeah, here we go. I think it's in here. I thought it was in here at least. Where is it? I know that it's in here somewhere. Oh. Maybe does this one have it? Cuz there should be a thing in here. Okay. Am I thinking of the right thing? I could have sworn I added a thing that lets you play a noise. Or no, okay, so there is something here. It's called play sound on update. I just don't know where I set the sound. But it can play a sound. I just can't remember where you configure it. I just got to remember because I haven't actually used this yet. Okay, maybe I didn't set that up yet. Let me just check something. Metric widget. I gotta check. Okay. Maybe I didn't set that up. Can I set that up now for a meme? I hope so. I think I might, because I should have, maybe I skipped over this without realizing it. But it should, hold on, no, it should be playing, it should already be playing a sound actually. I could have sworn, I don't know, I could have sworn I set this up, but maybe I didn't. Because it has to pass through this struct first. And I don't think I have a variable for sound. Okay, well that's future Ray's problem. I've done plenty today. Let's see if we can get the meow rank. But I promise later I will get the sound, because I haven't actually gotten to the part where I'm testing the sounds yet. But once I get that working, I could make it play a meow sound when the result screen comes up. In theory. Oh, wait. Mission failed? Wait, what? Hold on. No, I thought I touched the goal. I swore. I could have sworn I did. Okay. That's I think, because, alright, so this is actually a pretty hard map because of the way I've built, because this is all using supergrid. So there are bits where the character will intersect with the floor while on the wall, but that is that isn't a mission problem. That's just the way that this level was built. This is a level specific problem. Oh, it's it's because of the it's because it's a sphere, it's a capsule collider. I have to get further into the goal to be able to activate it. That's why. I have to get to the middle. Okay, you know what? I will, because I knew I'd have that problem. So I won't remove the platform, but I'll scale this back to the normal size. Because what's happening is I'm landing there. I'm not landing inside that invisible sphere. So if we shrink it, it might make it a bit easier. But, you know, let's see if we can do it now. I reckon that's a fair... Because that I might have to change that to like a box collider or something. I wanted to make it round because I wanted it to be an equal... Oh, okay. Okay, I wonder if I can get it at the right angle. And if that doesn't work, I have an idea. Okay, yeah, no, that's impossible. What I can do, though, is this. We'll bring it back, but what I'll do is I'll just move the collider to be there instead. I think that's fair. That should be a bit more reasonable. That way it actually is like intersecting with, yeah. So let's try that. Let's try that. Okay, meow rank, S rank. Let's go. Can I do it? 7, 8. Oh, just a little off. Okay, no, I can do it. I'm not ending the stream until I do it. That would be the most poggers way to end the stream. Getting the meow rank on this. Because look at, like, I mean, this, we're going to come back to this level later in development. Oh, 18 milliseconds! But so, what was I saying? Yeah, so we're going to come back to this a bit later with the, because it's still, I know you might be saying, Ray, this level looks the exact same as 2 years ago. Trust me, we'll come back to this one. We got priorities at the moment. We got levels, other levels we're working on. I am planning to come back to this one. But you see what I've just done is I've added now new gameplay without having to, like I've added a new thing to do in the game without having to make another level. Like, I'm just reusing one of my older levels, and I've made a whole new thing of it. And I really like that. That's kind of, to me, that's kind of where a lot of this is leading to. So it means, what this will mean is if I make new levels, because there are new levels, but it, okay, I know I can do this. But when I make new levels, it isn't just one level now. Do you get what I'm saying? It means if I design a new level, that can become 5 different things. Or however many I want. Like, I can make 10 challenges in that one level, and that is now 10 levels of fun with like one environment. That's taking the best of, because I think in a dev, it might have been my last devlog. Can't remember which one, but I remember obsessing over game time, and I remember getting really worked up about it. I'm not as worked up about it now, but I've come up with a smart, pragmatic way to sort of solve that problem. And this is something I'm going to talk about more in another devlog later. But while we're here seeing like the fruits of this, because the way I'm thinking of it is because I'm at the moment we're doing linear and open environments, which sounds crazy because I know everyone. I think I told everyone that I wasn't going to do that because I thought it would be too hard. But we figured out a way. There's a way to do it, and it's actually working so far right now. So the idea is that both of those, because there'll be the open ones that just have missions like this, and then there's the linear ones which are a bit more like Skyport. And we're going to have both of those. But imagine if both Skyport and these both had like, 5 different challenge missions in them. And you had to go about the environment a different way. Like maybe the Skyport, maybe we made, a special type of mission in that one. Like maybe we add this mode to it. But you start at the end of the level and have to go backwards through it. Or you have to go some weird route that is only there for that one mission type. Like we can do that. And that's exciting to me because it's like an economical way. It's a way to like have some mission content and have like levels, but like have them be more useful than just like that way they're more recyclable so that we don't have to like make a whole new environment for every mission. because that is just going to be like, that'll just take too long, and especially as an indie, it's a bit unattainable. But if you go about it like this, where you can turn this environment into 5 levels, that, I don't know, it's a bit smarter, I think. Maybe, okay, maybe the S rank is hard. I'm just thinking, because I know some of you guys, some of you speedrunners, will probably have some glitch you could exploit that makes Gabby go faster that I have not mastered yet. I'm just trying to think, how could I don't know. Oh yeah, also, by the way, yeah, if I just press R, it resets the mission. So I don't have to die. I can just press R to reset, except it seems to not like it when I'm jumping. Actually, let me check something, because something isn't right. There should be a on the input. If I, oh no, sorry. If yeah, input. Stop movement on load. Okay, no, that is on. All right. Well, I guess I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's stopping me when I'm reloading. Anyway, I think I have to go like spammy now. I have to go glitch. I have to go glitchy to get this S rank, I think. Oh yeah, I did it. We got the meow rank, guys. Hell yeah. See, I told you we could do it. Hell yeah. All right, now I can end the stream. I'm happy now. Mission accomplished. We did it. I can't believe that works. That actually works. That's awesome. Hell yeah. Cool. All right, well, I guess that's my mission accomplished today. That's I can't believe it's so. I kind of don't want to. I want to keep going, but I should probably stop now. It's 11:15 p.m. So I should probably stop. I just wanted to go back. I wanted to make that an S rank again, so I don't, because if I leave that, and I want to make sure that I don't leave that in by accident, because that's just a meme. We want to, yeah, there we go. Cool. All right, let's save everything. And we are done. Mission accomplished. Thanks so much for, I know this was like, we got a bit stuck along the way, but we did make it. We did do it. We did accomplish the thing. And yeah. Keep the, well, I think we could, if I change it on the source, we could make it the meow rank for every mission. So I don't want to leave like instance changes on just the things in level, because what I can then do is, yeah, I can go to the actual blueprint and change it there, and then it will change it everywhere. So that's what I can do. I can have everything be meow rank. Mirror mode. Okay, what's this? Mirror mode. Go from end to start. Music playing backwards. That might be cool. Yeah, we could do that. I think all I need to do is set the music, because you can change the mission music. All you need to do is then set the speed to -1, I think, and that should play backwards. Does that actually? I don't know. I think that works. It's been a while since I've tried it, but I think if you set it to negative speed, it'll play backwards. So that actually might be pretty easy to do. Was the beginning of the project difficult for you? Did you experience a lot of engine I wouldn't say engine problems. I think I experienced a lot of me problems. It's a lot of me not knowing what I'm doing problems, which I still experience today. But yeah, it was a bit of an adjustment to get the hang of what was going on. And it was really intimidating. I keep forgetting this because this is a while ago now since I started, but to answer your question, Meme Cat, yeah, I do remember way at the beginning, I was really scared of using Unreal. I was really intimidated by it because it was so different to what I was used to. But I am glad I stuck with it, because it's once you get the hang of it, it's really, hell, even I haven't gotten the hang of it fully yet. There's still heaps I haven't touched, but I get now why it's good. Like, I get it. There's a reason why it's a world-class engine. It's just, I think it was actually harder that I came from Unity and not just from nothing. You know, not like, in some ways it was, because I'd used Unity for like 5 or 6 years, I think, when I started this, and I was used to thinking a certain way, because Unity trains you to think a certain way. And then when you go to Unreal, it's like, this is all different. The way they do it is all different, but it actually isn't that different. You just got to kind of get past the shock of like a new engine. And once I kind of got it, I realized that there are equivalents. Like blueprints are like prefabs, but not exactly, but you can kind of think of them that way. I think the biggest change for me was like going from using instances of things, because I noticed that Unity and Unreal kind of treat it a bit different. I think with Unity, you can like make you can add a prefab to the scene and then change it in the scene. Whereas Unreal, you kind of have to go about it a little different. Like now that I think of it, it actually is kind of the same, but there was something that was different at the time. And I think as well, the way that scripts work, because in Unity, I don't know how it is now. It's been a while, but I do remember that scripts are kind of like components. But I didn't know what components were when I started Unreal, so I used to just do everything on the master blueprint, which is don't do that, by the way. That's bad. But then I learned that actor components are kind of like scripts in Unity, because you can, in Unity where you got an empty game object and you drag and drop a script onto it, and then it adds that. That's basically what an actor component is. And before I learnt that, I used to it was really alien to me. But once I figured out actor components, it all became very familiar, and I was like, oh, okay, I get how this is supposed to work now. And yeah, there might be a bit more, but that's what I remember. That was the main thing. But after a while, you kind of just, like it got to the point where it's like, well, I could either keep going or I could go back to Unity, and I absolutely did not want to go back to Unity. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm staying with Unreal, and that's what I did. And yeah, but yeah, I don't know if there's any, I was just looking to see if there was any other questions, but I think that's it. I think I'm going to go now, but thanks again so much for being so patient, not just with me today on the stream with the coding stuff, but just in general, because I do realize that it's like, games take a while to make. I think you guys know that. I certainly know that. And I appreciate you guys being so patient. I know it's been 3 months, I think, since my last big video, and it might be a little while before my next one, but I appreciate that you guys aren't like nagging me. I don't mean that in like a condescending way. I just want to say thanks for not being too harsh, because I know at the stage I'm at with the amount of time I've spent in development, I know people can start to get a bit impatient. But you guys have been really good. I want you to know that trust is not unnoticed. So I'm trying to do the best I can, and I'm trying to show the cool bits, trying to get through the boring bits. But I don't know. I don't want to announce anything right now, but there's stuff happening. When it's ready, and you'll see. If you really want to know right now exactly everything behind the curtain that's going on, I have been sharing monthly updates with my patrons and my YouTube members, because those are the guys that fund my devlogs. So if you want to help support those, and I think you get channel badges and stuff as well for these streams and emotes and stuff. So if you're interested in that stuff and have like $1 or so to spare, consider doing that, and then you'll be able to like see exactly all the stuff that's been happening the last 3 months, and there's been quite a bit. But if you'd rather just wait, then you can. I'll release it all eventually. But if you want to be in the loop, that's sort of how you go. But anyway, just thanks so much again. I just really appreciate it. I will now go. I'm not sure when I will be back on stream, because there's a bunch of other stuff on the backlog, and a lot of it might not be fun. But if I do get to something fun, you hit the bell and you will know. But until next time, guys, thanks so much. I will see you when I see you next time on Project Feline.